second basemen in baseball go head-to-head over the next 3 nights at Shea. The corner production has been outstanding for the Mets and Astros as both teams fight for a playoff spot. This is why you play the game. A proving ground for Bobby Valentine and Larry Dirkler next. Jeff Bagwell and the Houston Astros come to Shea for the start of an important 3-game series. But before he dropped his luggage off in the clubhouse, the slugger had a chance to sign some autographs for the fans assembled outside of Shea just a few hours ago. It's the Mets and Astros here at Shea on a beautiful night. The clouds and rain of the weekend have gone away, and we have a gorgeous evening for baseball here in Flushing. Good evening, everyone. I'm Matt Laughlin. The Mets have 37 games left in their season, and so the stretch run begins tonight. The period starts with 9 games in 10 days against 2 division leaders, and at this time of the year, scoreboard watching is also in vogue. The Mets a half game behind Atlanta in the East, Houston a half game better than Cincinnati in the Central. The Reds are at the Braves for 3 games. That series gets underway tonight, and next week the Mets will be in Houston, and the Braves and Reds will go at it one more time in a 3-game series. In this series, we will see some heavy artillery. For more on that, we send you upstairs to our 2 big guns, Howie Rose and Fran Healy.
All right, Matty, thank you. And yeah, the Astros do feature some heavy hitters, perhaps the most valuable player in the National League. Certainly the Mets have their candidates, but Jeff Bagwell is putting up MVP numbers in Houston, Fran.
He really is, Howie. He has been carrying the Houston Astro ball club. To beat the Astros, you got to get past Jeff Bagwell. In fact, if there are runners in scoring position, it's better off if you don't pitch to Bagwell, because that usually will happen. He has been hammering home runs. Look at his average RBIs this season, and look at his home runs and RBIs against the Mets during the course of his career. 14 home runs, 65 RBIs.
Gets on base regularly, too. In fact, he leads the National League in on-base percentage, something that has been a staple for Mets leadoff hitter Ricky Henderson. And when you take a look at this Mets batting order, it's full of 300 hitters. When Henderson gets on, lately, Piazza's driven him home.
Yeah, Mike Piazza, of course, has been on fire with the home run ball lately. You can't sneak a fastball by Mike Piazza. If you try, he can hit you out any place in the ballpark, including center field. He's also lifting his average. And look at Ricky Henderson. Has he been on fire? He's on base every time you look up. In fact, his last 9 out of 10 times, he's been on base. He's been hitting home runs, and he stole his 30th base yesterday at 40 years old.
For the Mets, Al Leiter will be the pitcher in tonight's game, and he'll be opposed by a hard-throwing right-hander, only 23 years old, Scott Ellerton. More on this MVP battle when we get back.
As you drive along Roosevelt Avenue underneath the L, Shea Stadium looms in the distance on your right. It is here at Shea that the Mets and Astros begin a 3-game series. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Matt Laughlin. Well, the Mets and Astros certainly have a couple of MVP candidates on their teams. Power is the key word for Jeff Bagwell. He's done it throughout his career. A .309 average this year, 37 home runs, 105 runs batted in. And Robin Ventura has been outstanding at third for the Mets. These 2 guys know each other well. It's a mutual admiration society.
I think he's just a complete player. You know, he plays great defense. He plays hard and runs the bases and, you know, hits for average power. And, you know, I don't think you look at him and think there's anything that he can't do, because he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. And, you know, I just have a lot of respect for him.
I think as a player, that's what you strive to be, is as consistent as possible. And obviously Robin has done that. This is his first year in the National League, and obviously he's doing a great job having a super year. Great guy, plays great defense, can hit, drives in runs, doing it year in and year out. He's impressive.
They are just 2 of the big names on display tonight at Shea Stadium. Big series here in Flushing, and it all begins in just a moment. Howie Rose and Fran Healy will have the call as we come back after this brief timeout.
Howie Rose, Fran Healy, Matt Laughlin with you from Shea Stadium in New York as the Mets begin a 3-game series with the Houston Astros, leaders in the National League Central by just a half game over the Cincinnati Reds. Our umpires tonight are brought to you by clickandsettle.com, where you can resolve your legal disputes online to avoid costs from getting out of line. Charlie Relaford will call the balls and strikes. Sam Holbrook at first, Dana DeMuth at second, Marvin Hudson, the umpires at third. And this crowd has a different sort of feel and sound to it than even those who came up on the last homestand. And certainly that's what late season baseball, when you're at or near first place, can do for you, especially when you consider that Bobby Valentine's Mets now, Fran, are playing contending teams virtually the entire rest of the way.
Yeah, Howie, you get the feel out here at Shea Stadium, the same feel you had in 1986 when this place was jumping. And a couple years after that 86 season, Larry Durker was a member of the Astros broadcast team in 86, but different atmosphere here at Shea Stadium.
Fans notice everything now, especially the starting lineups. When they put the Met lineup up on the Diamond Vision board, all the players were cheered in a way they haven't been this year. The Astros lineup, though, met with indifference, but not by pitchers on the opposition. Craig Biggio having another big year. Lance Berkman, a late addition to the starting lineup. Glenn Barker was going to start. Jeff Bagwell, an MVP caliber year. Caminetti, who's been an MVP. The former Met, Carl Everett. Matt Mieski's in right field. Tony Eusebio behind the plate. Timmy Bogar, a former Met, is at shortstop with Scott Ellerton on the mound. But it's Al Leiter who will do the pitching for the New York Mets tonight.
And Al Leiter is one of the toughest left-handers in the National League. But the Astros have had a lot of success against left-handers as opposed to right-handers this year. They're batting .296 this year against left-handed pitching, best in the National League. They better have their A game on if Al Leiter has his good stuff. You see 130 strikeouts in 159 innings. A big start once again for the #1 pitcher on the Met Ball Club. First of a 3-game series against the tough Houston Astros.
One thing Leiter's been able to do is keep the Mets in games, even when he hasn't had his best stuff, and this is one of the big reasons why.
Well, his defense all over it. Alfonso, Ordonez, and Ventura in the infield. Henderson, Hamilton, and Cedeno left to right in the outfield. Piazza, who has 9 errors, leads the team. He's behind the plate. And Al Leiter on the mound. Brought to you by Naira. So Mike Piazza, who has absolutely been on fire offensively, hitting home run after home run. He and Mark McGwire are making those home runs look easy.
Hello. Some MVP candidates in both dugouts tonight as Al Leiter gets set to face Craig Biggio. Biggio probably won't get much consideration for the most valuable player award, what with the kind of year that Bagwell's having and those that we've talked about on the Mets. But Biggio having another big year nonetheless. He's leading the National League in doubles with 49. And he's tied for 5th in the league in base hits. So it's Biggio, Al Leiter as we get going here at Shea. Ventura even with a bag at third. Biggio, remember, outstanding speed, and he pulls it just past Ventura. This one heading towards the left field corner as Biggio goes to second. Henderson picks it up, and on the first pitch of the game, the Astros have a runner in scoring position. That is double number 50 for Craig Biggio.
51 doubles last season, 50 doubles this season. He has yet to hit a triple this year. But Biggio leading off, doing what he's done so well as a leadoff man with the Astros, getting on base. Hit the ball hard down the left field line. So Craig Biggio, back-to-back years with 50 or more doubles.
So with Biggio at second and nobody out, that'll bring up Lance Berkman, the switch-hitting left fielder who was not in the original lineup. Glenn Barker was going to bat second and play center field. They've mixed the other Astro outfielders around, moving them from spot to spot in the outfield, but Barker has a slight rib cage muscle pull. And so Berkman breaks his bat. Ordonez, tough play. And he got him. So 2 pitches have been thrown by Al Leiter. 1 out and a runner at third.
Number 5, first baseman Jeff Bagwell.
Ordonez charging and on the move. The only way he could make that throw was while he was moving, and not an easy play, but I guess it is an easy play for Ray Ordonez. But a tough play for most shortstops coming in and fielding that ball without being able to stop and set. They have to throw while moving.
Well, this will be interesting now. It's only the first inning, of course. The Astros with 1 out and a runner at third. Let's see how Leiter works to Bagwell.
I'd walk him. I'd pitch around him because Caminetti's on deck, and Caminetti has been fighting injuries this year, although he had 2 home runs down in Florida over the weekend.
First pitch, Leiter busts him with a cutter inside and misses. It's 1-0.
Why would you want to pitch to him right now? Look at those stats. 37 home runs, 105 RBIs. but it's up to the pitcher and catcher. A manager and a pitching coach are not going to get involved this early in the ball game. And that's a good major league hitter right there, but he's been out with injuries this year, Ken Caminiti.
And the slider, 1-1. Bagwell loves to dive in. Saw Leiter pitch him inside with the first pitch.
Well, Bagwell, a leading candidate for the MVP award, along with Robin Ventura and a number of Matt Williams, also an MVP candidate. But right now, this is a crucial spot right here for Al Leiter and the Mets with a runner on third.
Fouled straight back, and so Leiter's ahead of him, 1-2.
Good pitch by Al Leiter, getting inside and jamming Jeff Bagwell. Watch right on the hands. But Bagwell isn't giving in. Here stands right on top of that plate. Now he has a quick bat. We've seen him get around on Armando Benitez this year with the home run.
And the 1-2 pitch, the infield creeps up, the pitch taken inside. So Bobby Valentine not inclined to just give up a run here in the first inning. As Leiter was going into his delivery, the infield started to move in, and the count 2-2.
And keep in mind with the Astros, if they're leading late in the ballgame, this is only an 8-inning ballgame. Billy Wagner's been untouchable.
Infield stays back. Bagwell goes around, strike three.
Good pitch by Al Leiter. Good slider.
Number 11, third baseman, Ken Caminiti.
So Leiter challenged Bagwell inside. Take a look at all these pitches to Jeff Bagwell. He busts them in. Ball misses inside. He comes back with that slider down and in. He goes upstairs and jams him with a heater, and he'll get him with a nasty slider as he tries to check his swing right there. All the pitches were inside on Jeff Bagwell. Good pitching by Al Leiter. Did not give Bagwell a strike to hit.
Now the infield sent back. Ken Caminiti, switch hitter who's missed a lot of this season. And he's unable to hold his swing. Strike one.
Well, a crucial situation so far. Bagwell would check swings. Now Caminiti, first pitch, tried to check his swing, was unable to do it.
Caminiti missed 79 games. He just came off the disabled list a week ago today. Had a strained calf muscle. So he's missed just about half a season. Runner at third, 2 out. Fastball up high. 1 ball, 1 strike to Caminiti. He has 4 home runs this year, but 2 of them came on Friday night at Florida, homering from both sides of the plate for the 10th time in his career. Caminiti started his career in the Astros organization. Now he's back. Breaking ball, 2-1.
It looked like right there that Caminiti told himself, when he throws that ball down and in, take it because it's going to break in the dirt. He did not attempt even a check swing.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Biggio at third. He jammed him. Ventura's up with it. Good job by Al Leiter. Gave up a leadoff double to Biggio. He was at third with 1 out, but a strikeout of Bagwell. Caminiti grounds out. The Astros do not score in the first inning. Here come the Mets. Last of the first inning, the Astros did not score in the top half, and here's the Met batting order presented by manager Bobby Valentine, the first 7 of whom are 300 hitters. Ricky Henderson, Edgardo Alfonso, John Olerud, Mike Piazza, Robin Ventura. 4 of those 5 putting up huge numbers in a little over a month since the All-Star break. Darren Hamilton just over the 300 mark, as is Roger Cedeno with Ray Ordonez at shortstop. You've seen Al Leiter. Now get a look at big Scott Ellerton. 23 years old. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall, 240 pounds, from Lamar, Colorado.
But not an overpowering pitcher, known more for his control.
And a fastball to Ricky Henderson.
In fact, in his last 5 outings, he has not walked a batter.
Ellerton was a #1 pick of the Astros back in '94. Ricky Henderson here at the age of 40, having a phenomenal season as he takes high for ball 1. He's on an 11-game hitting streak. He's had 6 out of his last 7. This is just in the series now against the Cardinals. Ricky was 6 for 7 with 3 walks. And a breaking ball misses. 2 balls and 1 strike on Henderson.
Ellington was used out of the bullpen early this year, but Jerry Hunsaker, the general manager, I remember early in the year, said he would be a good starter. Now he's in the rotation.
Henderson, fly ball. Left center. Berkman, the left fielder, called off by Everett, and it's Carl Everett to make the catch. So Henderson retired, 1 away.
And accepted, number 13, second baseman Eduardo Alfonso.
Boy, you notice a divot taken out there. Remember, this field absorbed a lot of water because of all the rain we had over the weekend, so the defense will be put to the test.
Bagwell at first, and he's an outstanding defensive first baseman. Biggio at second. You see his fielding position, or fielding percentage, 4th in the NL. Bogart and Caminetti round out the infield. You got Berkman, Everett, and Miski in left to right in the outfield. Eusebio behind the plate.
Edgardo Alfonso takes a fastball for a strike. Had a gorgeous day today, but it's going to take a couple of days to get over all this rain.
Well, you see Berkman going over and trying to put on the brakes as Carl Everett called him off.
Fly ball, well hit, left field. Berkman
Couldn't find it.
misjudged it, and it's gone. He'd have had to climb over the fence to get it. And for Alfonso, his 20th of the year, 1-0 New York. For the first time in his major league career, Edgardo Alfonso is a 20-home run man. That's misjudging one.
Yeah, in fact, he took a little bit of the drama away from the fans here at Shea because they thought he had a beat on it. But Alfonso knew he had a good shot at a home run, and Berkman going back and running out of room. So Lance Berkman tricking the fans here at Shea, but not allowed to trick Edgardo Alfonso. What a year for Alfonso.
And the Mets now with 3 20-home run men. Piazza with 30, Ventura with 28, and John Olerud, 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, when you look at Alfonso, we talk about his offense, and you've seen him play defense all year. A lead, probably the #1 candidate for the Gold Glove in the National League.
Fastball on the outside corner to John Olerud, 2-1.
He's the leading candidate as far as second base is concerned. Pokey Reese, another guy in the hunt. Also Craig Biggio, although he showed his fielding percentage 4th in the league.
3 balls, 1 strike now to Olerud, with Piazza up next. Ellerton normally has pretty good control. He'll walk between 2 and 3 hitters on average every 9 innings. And this is only his 9th start of the year. And he misses outside with a fastball.
Well, we talked about his ability to throw strikes. He has not issued a walk to a right-handed batter in his last 5 starts.
Well, Mike Piazza having another huge August. And yesterday, Piazza picked up 2 RBIs in the second game of the doubleheader, doing it as a pinch hitter. Didn't go anywhere near where that target is planted now. But the dunker was good enough to give him runs batted in 10 straight games. That's a new Mets record, knocking Bobby Bonilla out of the book. Inside with a fastball, 1-0.
We'll take a look at RBIs in August. Most of the majors brought to you by British Airways, Piazza, Palmero.
One ball, 1 strike now to Mike.
Mike's dad, Vince, here at the ball game. He looked like he was ready for this ball game when I saw him downstairs. Did a nice job working with Mike as a youngster. Mike said he still gives him advice. The only difference is he doesn't listen as much anymore.
Pulled through the hole, a base hit for Piazza. Olerud will hold on at second, although Berkman bobbles the ball in left field. So the Mets have 2 on with 1 out, and Ventura coming up.
Well, let's take a look at yesterday's home run by number 31. Hit the ball right over the center field wall. And home run swing from the start to the finish. Good fast bat and a powerful follow through by Mike Piazza. And running out of State, and Mike Piazza hit his 30th home run in yesterday's ball game. All kinds of power.
So target practice here for Robin Ventura. That's way up in the picnic area in left center field. Ventura usually pulls his home runs. No balls, 1 strike on Robin. Now with 101 runs batted in. That ties him for 6th in the National League.
Chasing that MVP award. You heard, if you were with us earlier, you heard Jeff Bagwell talking about how well-rounded Ventura is. He does it offensively and defensively.
Fly ball well ahead, left center. Berkman on the warning track to haul it in. Olerud was halfway, so now he'll go back. Maybe he saw that target out there. 2 men away.
The fans reacting in a more positive fashion. They felt this ball was going to go over the fence where Alfonso's ball, because of Berkman losing the ball. The fans weren't sure if it had a chance.
So 2 on, 2 out. McGuire's, or pardon me, Alfonso's home run. Still holding it 1-0.
Berkman said, I got this all the way. And he gets the ball back in.
Now it's Darrell Hamilton. Hamilton batting .382 since coming over to the Mets. 21 out of 55. That's low. 1-0.
Once again, the Mets put out 7 of their 9 hitters are batting over 300. Pretty good lineup if you can put that out there every day.
Everett pretty shallow in center. Not much speed aboard for the Mets right now. Hamilton pulls it down to Bagwell, who takes it himself, and the side retired. The Mets grab the lead on Alfonso's 20th. They also leave 2. And at the end of 1 here at Shea, it's 1-0 New York.
The new long weekend, new lower price edition of Mets Dream Week is your ticket to fulfilling your dream of being a big leaguer. Imagine taking the field in Port St. Lucie, Florida next January in your own authentic Mets uniform, next to players like Al Jackson, Ed Charles, Jerry Grody, and Cookie Rojas. If you've ever thought about being a Mets Dream Weeker, here's your chance. Call 800-888-4376 to learn more about Mets Dream Week. 800-888-4376.
Boy, it's good to see Larry Dierker back in the Houston dugout after suffering a grand mal seizure just before the All-Star break. He missed 27 games after having the surgery. Matt Galante, who is on the left of your screen, ran the ball club in the absence of manager Larry Dierker, but Dierker is back. Astros have won 24 out of the 37 since he's returned. And having interviewed Larry Dierker many times during the Mets extra days, he is as cordial and chippy as he ever was. Good to see Larry Dierker back. Carl Everett, first pitch off the glove of Ventura. And the Astros, for the 2nd straight inning, have a man aboard after Leiter's first pitch of the inning. See how they score this one.
And the Astros love to run. Everybody runs on this team, and they are leading the National League in stolen bases. And we know about Everett's speed. We saw him run here in New York. Seems like everybody has the green light on this ball club.
Everett has 24 stolen bases. When he was with the Mets, he didn't choose to run all that often. But Everett has gotten more into the stolen base thing since he's become an Astro.
I think it's because everybody seems to have the green light. A lot easier to steal when you can run on your own.
Madmiski playing right field. Olerud in front of the runner. Everett at first as Leiter misses inside to Miski. Still no ruling on that ball that was hit by Everett.
You know, looking at Carl Everett, the thing that really did help him was Jerry Hunsaker, the general manager of the Astros, knew him when he worked in the front office with the Mets, and he liked him. And he gave him an opportunity after talking to him when they were able to get a hold of Everett from the Mets.
1-0 to Miski, taken for a strike. Red Foley, the official score, just credited Carl Everett's account with a base hit. Each team with 2 hits now. Miski came over from the Seattle Mariners in June. The right-handed pitcher Kevin Hodges And the 1-1 pulled. Nice pick by Ventura. That's one. Alfonso to first, a double play. Everett went in hard, but Alfonso hung in, and the Mets turned the double play.
A good soft hands by Robin Ventura, moving to his left. And the toughest part about this was catching that ground ball. After that, it was easy. You'll see the ball put in play, and watch Ventura move to his left. 5 Gold Gloves, soft hands, flip, good flip to Alfonso, who returns the first, and a double play by a lot. 5-4-3.
So now it's the catcher, Tony Eusebio. One of a long list of Astros who have spent time on the disabled list this year. They just activated him last week. Missed 14 games with a strained left hamstring. Astros have used the disabled list 15 times this year. Now the ground ball towards third, but this one's foul.
Well, so far, as you look at Moises Alou, who the Astros are hoping will be back in September. In fact, Jerry Hunsaker told me if we're able to get Moises Alou back in September, it's like making a trade to help your club in September. Alou's been out all year after getting hurt on a, we think, treadmill.
Well, the Astros now have basically shrugged their shoulders and said the doctors say that his story was feasible, so we'll leave it at that. He got hurt on a treadmill, so says Jerry Hunsaker and Larry Durker. The 2-1 to Eusebio on the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And as Alou started his rehab a couple of weeks ago, he aggravated his injury, not necessarily a re-injury. He just did a little too much too soon, so they've had to set him back a bit. The 2-2 from Leiter, fouled away.
Well, so far, Leiter has looked real good. Every pitch has been a nasty pitch. He's firing the ball, and of course, he needs command of all his pitches, and to set the tone early, and he has set the tone early by throwing that hard stuff inside. Even if you hit it hard, you're going to pull it foul.
Swing and a miss. Eusebio down on strikes. 2 strikeouts for Leiter. No runs, a hit. The Mets turn to double play. And in the middle of the second, 1-0, New York. Last of the second. Everybody up on the Sea of Tranquility enjoying tonight's telecast here on Fox Sports Net New York. Things have been pretty tranquil around Shea Stadium. And in fact, all around baseball New York during this very memorable summer of 1999, which has the potential to become more than a memorable summer, but an epic fall. Things go the way they've been going the last little while. The Mets trailing Atlanta by a half game starting play tonight. The Braves have a 2-1 lead in Atlanta in the top of the second inning over the Cincinnati Reds, and the Mets are leading the Astros here 1-0 in the last of the second. So all 4 of the teams who are after those 3 spots are involved with each other during the early part of this week. Fastball in for a strike to Roger Cedeno. Bottom third of the Mets order here. Cedeno followed by Ray Ordonez, has gotten hot again. And then Al Leiter. See Caminetti on the grass, suspicious. And Cedeno pulls the bunt back. No balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, he talked about the ability the Astros have for stealing bases. The Mets, of course, a good running ball club. And this game, this series could be determined on speed, the way the Astros and the Mets put runners in motion.
Cedeno pulled it back, but he will bunt with 2 strikes every so often. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Roger. By the way, we want to apologize for those of you who might have been experiencing some audio problems over the last couple of minutes. Hopefully that's all cleared up. In there for a called strike 3, right at the knees. And Cedeno struck out, the first strikeout for Scott Ellerton.
Well, we talked about Ellerton's control. He's also been a winner. Wherever he's pitched, he's pretty much had a winning record. Talked about his size, but his control is his secret as he puts the ball exactly where he wants it here, and he froze Cedeno.
So 1 out, Ray Ordonez the batter. Ray with 14 for his last 31 takes a curveball for a strike. By the way, in case you missed the pregame show and you were expecting to see left-hander Mike Hampton pitching for Houston tonight, Hampton's wife gave birth over the weekend. Mike's plane was delayed last night getting out of Houston. Originally, Hampton was going to start with Ellerton going tomorrow. But because of the delay and the late hour at which Hampton arrived, Larry Durka said, well, let's pitch Ellerton on Monday and save Hampton until Tuesday. So Hampton will be the Houston pitcher in tomorrow night's game. In the air, center field, Carl Everett there. And there are 2 men away.
They talked about some of the injuries the Astros have experienced. Carl Everett's been out for a while. Moise Salou the whole year. It's been tough in the Astros, but boy, oh boy, have they put up a fight in the Central Division of the National League. Ken Caminetti been out. He's been out with an injury after signing as a free agent, leaving those San Diego Padres. There's a Lou.
And it even got the coaching staff. See Jose Cruz in the corner there? Jose Cruz, the Astros' first base coach, missed some time with an irregular heartbeat. And thankfully, former Mets coach Tom McCraw back with the Astros. He missed 3 months after having surgery for prostate cancer. Fouled away by Leiter, 0-2. There's Mack, former hitting coach of the New York Mets under Jeff Torborg and Dallas Green. Good to see him well again. To Leiter, fouled away. That includes his bases clearing double recently against the Padres. 0-2 pitch, breaking ball, and Leiter is called out. 2 strikeouts for Scott Ellerton, both coming here in the 2nd inning. 2 in the books on a very comfortable night now as the manager of the Houston Astros after suffering that seizure. Matt Laughlin asked him if he's any different, feeling any different about himself since the surgery.
I don't feel different. You know, I feel the same as I did before, and I find myself, except that I'm continually asked to do interviews, I mean, I don't think about that anymore. I'm thinking about the Mets. You know, how are we going to beat this team? We're going to fight with them if we fall out of the first place for a wild card. And, you know, we got swept by the Braves in Atlanta, and we can't afford to have that happen here.
I was asking Larry before the game something along the same lines about whether or not, after having something of a life-threatening experience, you know, you hear people who go through that stuff talk about priorities changing, things like that. I asked him if any of that innate competitiveness that a professional athlete has, as Tim Bogart takes strike 1, might have been changed or compromised a bit after the surgery. And he thought for a second. He said, no, not one bit. He said he still feels as competitive from a managerial standpoint as much as you can feel competitive as opposed to as a player as he ever did. So as he pointed out to Matt, he feels no different in any capacity or aspect whatsoever. 0-2 on Tim Bogart. He was an outstanding pitcher for the Houston Astros, who has taken his pitching philosophy and transplanted it onto this pitching staff. He wants his pitchers to go as deep, starting pitchers, of course, into a game as possible. In fact, he's used his bullpen fewer times than any other team. Leiter picks up the first out here in the 3rd inning, striking out Tim Bogart. Matt Laughlin is standing by. Matty.
All right, Howie, I'm up here in the upper deck with John Imperial. He is the Director of Community Relations for Chase. There are 10,000 people here tonight, courtesy of Chase, and their Baseball is for Kids program. And John, no pun intended, it's a big hit.
It's a great success this year. It's our 2nd year of the Chase Baseball is for Kids program. We've got 125,000 tickets that Chase bought this year. We've given them to community groups and schools all throughout the tri-state area, mostly to kids in low and moderate income areas that would never have a chance to come to a ball game, and it has been a tremendous success. So we love it. The groups that we work with, the kids that we work with, they just love it. It's been a good partnership for Chase, the Mets, and lots of kids.
All right, well, let's hear the kids. Kids, let's get a little Let's Go Mets cheer going. You ready? Let's go. Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! These guys are pumped. No question, this group is ready for some action. They want to see a W, fellas.
All right, Matty, thank you. 0-1 to Scott Ellerton with 1 out, nobody on here in the 3rd. Tried to check his swing, couldn't do it. So Leiter, who has struck out the last 2, ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. strikeouts now for Al. 2 out, nobody on. Meet the Mets at the Wiz in Sayville tomorrow, August 24th. Benny Agbayani will be there. He'll greet fans and sign autographs from 10:30 until 12:30. And then Matt Franco will be there from 11:30 to 1:30. That's all at the Wiz in Sayville tomorrow, Tuesday, August 24th. So stop by and say hello to a couple of Mets. Greg Biggio said hello to Al Leiter. In the first inning, Leiter's first pitch was pulled down the third baseline for Biggio's 50th double of the year. Slider on the inside corner, 0-1.
See that big protection in Biggio's arm, his left arm. Al Leiter, and a lot of pitchers feel that helps the hitter stay in there. You can't move him out because you can't hurt him with that inside stuff.
Ordonez got the in-between hop and slingshots it to Olerud.
How about that for an adjustment with his glove? The last moment, turning that glove the other way. Watch this. Then he turns it and makes the flip to first base. Nice play by Ordonez.
For him, routine. Picturesque backdrop outside of and inside Shea Stadium for tonight's game between the Mets and the Astros, which heads to the last of the third inning. Mets leading on the Alfonso home run. We'll go back to the top of the Mets batting order now against Scott Ellerton here in the third. Henderson, Alfonso, and John Olerud. And Ricky takes a fastball. No ball, it's 1 strike. Fly ball right field, right at Matt Mieske. That's the first down here in the home third. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited. Mets went over the 2 million mark yesterday in paid attendance. Probably have about 35,000 or so in the park for tonight's game. So 20 home runs now for Alfonso, 1 off of the Met record for second baseman. Jeff Kent hit 21 back in 1993. Fonzie now with 87 runs batted in. And the curveball.
In watching yesterday's ball game when Alfonso got the big hit in the first ball game, he took a pitch that was out over the plate, and it's not his custom to pull it, but he did. He pulled it in the hole between short and third. Ordinarily hits that ball to right field.
Just did find room between the shortstop and the third baseman on that game-winning hit.
He had 20 home runs now and 87 RBIs.
So he had the game winner in the opener, and then he represented the tying run at the plate with 2 out in the nightcap. Hit it hard to the second baseman for the final out. Gets a breaking ball here, hits it in the air. Short left center, Everett falls off Berkman. Carl Everett's covering a lot of ground out there, particularly with a left fielder who hasn't played out there a whole lot, and Lance Berkman.
I think once Everett sees he can catch that ball, he calls for it, and Berkman has to put on the brakes. We saw Berkman earlier slip because he had to put on the brakes. You see Everett call for the ball? Berkman has to just move away. Did he step on Berkman's left foot? Oh, yes, he did.
That'll teach you. Spread out. Olerud drew a walk his first time up. John's tied for second in the National League in walks. He has 103 now. Of course, that's a Met record for walks in a single season. Set that record last week. Up the middle. Great stop by Bogart, but he can't get it there in time. Eusebio backs up, and as the ball hits the panel in front of our camera locations, nice play by Tim Bogart. But it's an infield hit for John Olerud.
Rarely do you see an infield hit by John Olerud. Nice stop by Bogart, and he bounces the ball past Jeff Bagwell, who tried to keep his right foot on the bag and scoop the ball. Here's that throw, the bounce, and the ball stays down. Bagwell was expecting that ball to take a higher hop. Watch this ball stay down as Bogey throws that ball to first base. The ball skips rather than taking that bounce.
Morgar is playing a lot of shortstop for the Astros these days. Ricky Gutierrez has had some injury problems this year. So it's Piazza now with 2 out. Ellerton misses inside. Mike single to left field his first time up. So the average right back to where it usually is around this time of year. It's at 327. 30 home runs. 5 straight years he's done that. 97 runs batted in. Little looper back behind first. Bagwell in foul territory. Retires Piazza. So just that 2-out infield hit by Olerud. Piazza's pop-up ends the inning. And at the end of 3 here at Shea Stadium. First game of a 3-game series between the Mets and the Astros. 1-0 New York. 4th inning, and in honor of this youngster's first New York Mets game at Shea Stadium, the Aflac trivia question. And our question for tonight has to do with the major league record for consecutive games with an RBI. You know that Mike Piazza now has the Mets record with 10 in a row. We'll give you the answer in the last half of the 4th inning. But as we go to the top of the 4th, Al Leiter, he's been in control. Made only 29 pitches through 3 innings, and 22 of them have been for strikes.
Yeah, that's a big key for Al Leiter. He throws strikes, and he is very, very tough to hit, especially when he gets on top of these batters, gets ahead.
Lance Berkman grounded to short. First ball hitting, pops it foul. No play for Piazza, 0-1.
And Al Leiter, as we mentioned, for the first 3 innings has been busting all the right-handers inside. He gave you that stat earlier in his ball game. Houston is batting .296 this year against left-handed pitching. It's the best in the National League, but only .257 against right-handers, which is the worst in the league.
1 ball, 1 strike now. Lance Berkman. Berkman's 2nd time up with the Astros this year. And Hidalgo, Richard Hidalgo, went on the disabled list 10 days ago. Berkman came back up. 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
Yeah, he came up first for Everett. Now Hidalgo, and they're going to keep him. You see the in-game box score. 1-for-1, Carl Everett. Biggio doubled to lead off the ball game. He's 1-for-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. Upstairs with a fastball. Trying to get him to chase. It's 2-2. Not a bad idea. You have a young, inexperienced hitter. See how anxious he is. See if he's over anxious. Or chase a bad ball.
Well, you're going to see even the veterans chase bad balls against Leiter because he throws the fastball up high. That's a ball they might chase. That's a bad ball. And the breaking ball down and in, another bad ball.
There it is, down and in, and he waves at it. Couldn't hold his swing, and Leiter has his 5th strikeout.
And we saw Bagwell, who's as good a hitter as anybody in baseball, chase that same pitch. When Leiter has his good stuff, a lot of check swings. And you'll see hitters chase that high fastball out of the strike zone because Leiter throws hard, and you have to get your bat going to catch up with his pitch. Consequently, you get the bat out there into the hitting position. The ball breaks out of the strike zone, and you try to check your swing.
So the Leiter corner puts up 5 as Jeff Bagwell, who was the first of those 5, comes up. Inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Now, we talked about how interesting it would be to watch how Leiter approached Bagwell in the 1st inning with Biggio at 3rd and 1 out. And we were talking about whether or not he'd challenge him, not whether or not he'd walk him intentionally, but would he challenge him, pitch around him, make him chase bad balls? 1-1 to Bagwell. He did not throw him a strike the entire at-bat, and yet he struck him out.
Well, he just threw him another nasty pitch inside, borderline pitch. And if Bagwell hits his ball hard, he's going to pull it foul. The only dilemma Leiter would have is if he misses out over the plate trying to get inside on Bagwell.
Ooh. 1 ball, 2 strikes, tied him up and in.
Yeah, power against power. Started him off with that nasty slider down and in, and then ran the fastball by him upstairs. You'll see Bagwell, he doesn't cheat himself. He's as strong as anybody in the game. See if Leiter goes, no, they're going to go with that heater. Nope, breaking ball in the dirt.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
We saw how he pitched to Bagwell in a crucial situation. Even though it was the first inning, there was a runner in scoring position on third base. He stayed hard inside and got Bagwell to chase bad pitches. He threw him 1 fastball on that at bat, and he's only thrown him 1 in this at bat.
And the 2-2 to Bagwell. Breaking ball got him. 6 strikeouts for Al Leiter. He's gotten Bagwell twice. 2 men away.
Well, so far, Bagwell has taken the big rip, and he's missed. Short stride, and he swings through that pitch.
So 2 out, nobody on. Caminetti grounded to third to end the top of the first inning. Fastball high, 1-0. So Leiter is already making a contribution to his charity, Leiter's Landing. Remember, Fox Sports Net New York donates $50 per strikeout. And already that's been $300 added to the till tonight. $6,800 so far this year. 2 balls, no strikes. If you'd like to contribute, call 800-668-0022, or you can fax them at 954-966-9659. Now behind Caminetti, 2-0 with 2 out, nobody on. Fouled off, 2-1.
Caminetti just came back from rehabbing in the minor leagues. The Astros picked him up for a couple reasons. They felt he would be a leader on the ball club, and they felt he would play even better than in San Diego because he makes his home in Houston. Whoa. There's an example of what happens when Leiter throws that hard stuff inside. The hitter hits the ball relatively hard. He pulls it foul. Watch this. Caminetti going out and taking that pitch that's inside, and he pulls it over the Astro dugout.
It's that cutter running in on him. That'll break a few backs. 2-2 to Caminetti outside. So Al runs a full count here.
Problem with an injury, when you're out for an extended period of time during the Major League Baseball season, it's tough to get going in a consistent manner the rest of the year.
Well, he's got a chance to make it 3 Ks in the inning. And the payoff pitch. Low, ball 4. First walk issued by Leiter.
Center fielder Carl Everett.
Well, Al Leiter, who's been throwing good strikes, misses there, and he agrees, and you see his reaction.
So Caminetti, without much speed at this point in his career, aboard at first with 2 outs. Carl Everett reached on an infield hit. It was off the glove of Robin Ventura to start the 2nd inning. That was his first career hit, too, off of Al Leiter. Everett had been 0 for 11 against him. Fouled away, 0-1.
Well, Everett is certainly what you call a free swinger. He starts that bat as soon as Leiter starts winding up, and his stats are indicative of what the Mets felt he would be when he was a member of the Mets. He's got 19 home runs, 91 RBIs, and he's batting .332.
Remember the Yankees drafted him. Marlins gave up on him. Everett pulls it down the left field line. Henderson over to the corner. In foul territory, he makes the catch. So no runs, no hits, a 2-out walk. And in the middle of the 4th inning, still 1-0 New York.
Hey, Mets fans, Pepsi invites you to show up at Shea on Fridays for free admission to the Pepsi picnic area. The first 800 fans with a Pepsi can or bottle will be admitted to the Pepsi picnic area at Shea Stadium for free. Have a great night with your friends and family and enjoy the game from the left field bleachers. The Friday night action continues on September 3rd as the Mets take on the Colorado Rockies. So bring a Pepsi and show up at Shea for free.
Last of the fourth inning. Let's look back at our Aflac trivia question. We're looking for the major league record holder for consecutive games with a run batted in. Mike Piazza's got 10 for the Mets right now. And the major league record is held by Ray Grimes. Did it back in 1922 with the Chicago Cubs. Probably before there was a LaGuardia Airport. I do not believe there was an airport on that field in 1922. Of course, Mayor LaGuardia didn't control New York until the 1930s, right? I don't think that airport was built before LaGuardia had it named for him. 1-1 to Robin Ventura. John F. Kennedy Airport used to be Idlewild Airport. 1-1 to Ventura, leading off the fourth, followed by Darrell Hamilton and Roger Cedeno. Missed with a change, 2-1. Three balls, one strikes now. Fullerton will throw that changeup rather often. Mostly the left-hand batters. Ventura pulls this one into right field. Niesky plays it on the first hop. And the Mets have their fourth hit of the night, a leadoff single by Robin Ventura. Well, that'll bring up Darrell Hamilton, who grounded the first, his first time at bat. Mets have now out-hit the Astros 4-2 in this game.
Our New York Life in-game box score, you see Edgardo Alfonso in the first inning with a home run.
Fastball for a strike to Hamilton. Darrell taking a good long look at third base coach Cookie Rojas. In case Bobby Valentine puts a hit and run on. Ken Caminiti, the third baseman, pretty tight on the grass at third. Infield back at double play depth. Hamilton takes the fastball again. It's 0-2. So Darrell in a two-strike hole. Caminiti will now drop back onto the dirt. See Ken even with the bag. Still has real good range for a third baseman. From that spot, he can cut off balls that might be headed for the hole.
It's going to be a pretty good battle for the Gold Glove at third base this year. Robin Ventura, Matt Williams.
Williams in that MVP race, too. Mets will see him over the weekend in Phoenix. 0-2 to Hamilton. He came in on his hands, and he fouls it off.
Of course, I guess there's nobody more electrifying than the big guy who was here over the weekend, Martin McGwire.
That home run he hit yesterday just is not supposed to happen.
No.
Never seen anything like that from a right-hand hitter to hit the scoreboard that high up. 0-2 on Hamilton. Looped over third base hit. A lot of spin on that ball, taking it over towards the railing. Ventura will go to third, Hamilton to second. And the Mets have runners at second and third with nobody out. Hamilton's 15th two-base hit of the year.
Well, Ellerton going right after Hamilton with that breaking ball, and Hamilton hitting the ball softly down the left field line. Look at that ball spin. Like a golf ball. Cue ball. And left fielder Berkman gets over there, and he has trouble fielding it. All kinds of spin on that ball. He had to take his eye off the ball for a moment to pick up the runners.
Now those runners at second and third with nobody out. Roger Cedeno takes low. The Astros keep the infield back at short and second, even with the bags at first and third.
Well, what does the big guy feature? He is sit dead red. That's his fastball. Above average breaking stuff. Quick to the plate for a guy 6'7". Ellerton scouting report. Sit dead red is when you sit on a fastball. You know, there's a lot of slang terms in baseball. Cheese, dead red. And each generation of major league players and minor league players seem to come up with their own terms. Although some terms go forever.
Ventura's at third, Hamilton at second. Nobody out. Mets leading 1-0 here in the fourth. Ripped to right field. Miski over. Makes the catch. Ventura comes down the line from third. He scores. Going to third is Hamilton. Cedeno with a sacrifice fly. Picks up his 28th run batted in, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead.
That was a sacrifice bullet. Roger Cedeno hitting that ball hard. Miski got over there, moving toward the line. Looked like he either lost his footing. Something happened where he didn't get the ball in a hurry. So Hamilton was able to tag up on second to go to third. Ventura's first move was back to third base. That's why it was easy for him to score. If his first move is a couple steps forward, you have trouble scoring to that ball, but immediately Ventura went back to third, but that was a bullet off the bat of Cedeno.
So with one out and Hamilton at third, the Astros bring their infield in for Ordonez. Ray flied to center his first time up. Takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Ray always a threat to bunt. Looking down in case there's a squeeze on. Checking in with Cookie Rojas. Astros really in on the right side. You see Biggio, the second baseman, on the grass. Off the leg of Ellerton, coming to the plate, Hamilton, and he is out.
No way.
Hamilton doesn't believe it. Bobby Valentine's coming out to argue.
Tagged him too high. So the Astros getting a break. Ellerton stopping that ball with his leg. And Bobby Valentine has the legitimate gripe, I believe, as far as the naked eye is concerned. And it looked like Hamilton got his foot in there. And Eusebio with the high tag. But the home plate umpire, Charlie Relaford, said he was out. Let's take a look. The replay should tell the story. Look at Ellerton knocking that ball down in front. Big guy hustles after it and fires that ball home. The high tag on the shoulder. Did Hamilton get his leg in there? Boy, Ellerton threw that ball hard, and that's the only thing he could do. Relaford said he's out, so he's out.
Well, yeah, the left hand was dangling a little bit, and I think the only way he could have been out is if he might have nicked that left hand. Al Leiter swings and misses.
It was a high slide. If he slides a little bit lower, Eusebio has trouble with the tag because the ball was thrown high. What would have shocked me as a catcher is when you see a 6'7" guy pick up that ball and rear back from that distance.
So Ordonez at first with 2 men out. Low to Leiter, 1-1. Al was caught looking in the second inning. So the Met lead remains at 2-0. Breaking ball, 1-2.
Well, you might just throw Al Leiter another breaking ball. If Al's going to hit it, make him hit your curveball. We've seen Al get some clutch hits this year off fastballs.
Threw him the fastball away, and the count evens. Highlight of Al's season at the plate so far, that bases loaded double off of Woody Williams of the Padres on the last homestand. Hamilton still pleading his case in the Mets dugout. Low, ball 3. So Ordonez will have an automatic start at first with 2 out in the full count. Ellerton has walked 1 batter tonight. That was John Olerud in the first inning after Alfonso's home run. So Ordonez will be on the way. The payoff pitch to Leiter, and he's out of there. 3 strikeouts for Scott Ellerton. It's 2-0 New York. It was this close to 3-0. Darrell Hamilton called out by home plate ump Charlie.
Good news here at Shea, where the Mets lead by a score of 2-0, and some good news on the injury front. Some of the Mets injured pitchers are starting to get back into shape this afternoon around 3:42. Rick Reed was throwing 45 pitches of batting practice. I asked him afterward what made him the most happy about his outing.
I was able to go out there and throw strikes. been a long time since I've been out there, but you know, everything went really well. The pitch that I hurt my finger on was a curveball, and I threw a lot of those today and threw them for strikes, and I was really pleased with everything.
Was there any concern when you went out there that it would seem foreign to you?
No, you know, I've thrown it twice in the bullpen, so but it was a little different facing a couple hitters, but you know, like I said, everything went good.
Now, Reed will throw again on Wednesday in the bullpen, and then a decision will be made whether or not he needs a rehab assignment. Meanwhile, John Franco threw 26 pitches in the bullpen today, and he's getting ever closer, too. So good news, fellas, for the Mets.
All right, Matty. Thank you, Matty. And, in fact, Bobby Jones makes another rehab start tonight for Norfolk. Up here with the big club, it's 2-0 New York as we go to the 5th inning with the play-by-play. Here's Fran Healy.
All right, Howie Lighter will take on Matt Laughlin, Tony Eusebio, and then Tim Bogard. Lighter's first pitch is a strike. He struck out 6 Astros in this ball game. Miski hit into a 5-4-3 double play his first time out. Speaking of strikeouts, Leiter at one time struck out 200 batters when he pitched for the Marlins back in '96. And there's a long drive, and that baby's gone. Home run, Matt Miski, his 5th of the year. So Al Leiter, who's been throwing hard and throwing in, misses to the Astro right fielder, and he pays him. Leiter paid for missing with a pitch to Miski, and it's now 2-1 Mets.
Yeah, wildness doesn't always mean a pitch out of the strike zone. This is a fastball that's up where he could handle it.
Might have been out of strike zone.
Miski, yeah, it was up, but Miski turns on it. A lot of times you'll hear about a pitcher who's wild in the strike zone. Wilder fastball might have been down a little bit more than that. He left it up, but Miski had no trouble turning.
And the way Leiter's been throwing tonight, I didn't think anybody could turn his fastball around. But it's now 2-1 Mets. Tony Eusebio hits this ball way up in the air. Piazza looking at Olerud saying take it, and Olerud does. 1 down here in the 5th.
That ball was up 2. Probably out of the strike zone. Eusebio went after it. Now Tim Bogard coming up. This is the home run by Matt Miski.
Well, you got to get that bat started to hit that ball up in that area off of anybody, especially Al Leiter.
That ball's above the letters. See where the letters on the uniform are.
It's a great job. Look at how open he is. Look at the hips opened up. You had to open up in a hurry to take that pitch out. So it's 2-1 now. Mets on top of the Stros.
We talk about a pitch above the letters as though the letters is the determining point anymore. Even a pitch at the letters is no longer called a strike.
Tim Bogard, the batter, he's in a hole, and he hits the ball off the end of the bat. Ventura picks it up in foul territory, so it's 0-2 on the Astros shortstop. This is the first of a 3-game series. Nice crowd on hand. Tickets still available for tomorrow night and Wednesday, so come on out to Shea Stadium. Mets playing some good baseball. Trailing the Braves by a half game coming into tonight's action. But there's some great pennant races in the National League.
Atlanta leading Cincinnati 4-1 now on the top of the 4th inning at Turner Field.
Reds have been on fire, especially on the road. Way outside to Bogard, 1-2. After the 3 games here at Shea Stadium, the Mets are going to road. Head for 3 in Phoenix against those Diamondbacks. And then 3 more in Houston against these Astros. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Tim Bogard. He asks for time, and Charlie Relaford gives it to him. That play where Ellerton threw to Eusebio to cut down Darrell Hamilton at the plate could prove to be a huge play in this game. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Bogard hits a fly ball to right field. Cedeno with plenty of room makes the grab. 2 down. Where will the Mets be the next few days?
Well, they'll be here for the next 2 as you take a look at our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule. We'll have both of the remaining Astros games in this series. And then it's out to Phoenix for the Diamondbacks series. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday early evening, at least as far as Phoenix time is concerned. It's 3-hour time difference, so those games starting at 7 and 5 o'clock. We'll have Fridays and Sundays. WB will have Saturdays.
2 men are out. Scott Ellerton, the batter, takes a strike from Leiter.
That's strange, huh? They don't do daylight savings time in Phoenix or in the state of Arizona. Normally, they're 2 hours behind us. Right now, there's a 3-hour time differential until October.
And the 0-1 pitch is inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. If you missed it, Ellerton did a kick save on the mound, picked up the ball, threw a bullet to Eusebio to cut down Darrell Hamilton. That would have been the 3rd run of the game for the Mets.
Now I'm really worried. You're using hockey terminology.
Well, those guys do a lot of kicking. But Ellerton doesn't have the pads. And the 1-2 pitch to Ellerton. Down low. So the count evens up. What a gorgeous night here at Shea Stadium. Hit over 50,000 for the double dip yesterday. Ellerton with a good swing against Al Leiter. Ellerton's laying off the breaking ball down and in and taking a good rip at the fastball. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. A big strike zone for this guy. He's 6 foot 7 inches. Once again, the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3. So Al Leiter striking out Ellerton in the 5th for the Astros, but Niski came up big, taking a fastball over the left field wall. His 5th home run of the season. The Astros trail the Mets by 1. Oh, back here at Shea Stadium, looking at Manhattan from high atop the ballpark here in Flushing. Let's have a 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And the red-hot Ricky Henderson will lead it off, although in this ball game he's flied out twice. Come on out, buy yourself some hats.
Those are Leiter's. And Al Leiter has helped them put up 7 strikeouts. 7 R's anyway. Those are supposed to be little cigarette lighters, right?
Up high to Ricky Henderson, ball 1.
Gotta be creative. You can't just throw up a K anymore. I mean, they were doing that 15 years ago. Gotta be contemporary. Of course, 15 years ago, they said Ricky was in his prime. He's still in his prime the way he's looked this year.
Boy, he has been on fire this year, especially lately. One of the reasons the Mets have had the best record in the Major League since June 6th. Henderson gets jammed, loops the ball in left field. Berkman is there, and he makes the grab. 1 down. So Henderson now 0 for 3 in this game. And with 1 man out here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Edgardo Alfonso, who homered his first time up, will be the batter. He homered and flied out in this game.
Home run coming with 1 out of the 1st inning off of Scott Ellerton. A pitch that was up and in, and Alfonso driving it, even though Lance Berkman originally thought that he'd have to come in for that ball. Landed in the seats in the picnic area. Nothing he could have done with that.
So Alfonso taking on Scott Ellerton. Can he be a forgotten man in this lineup?
I'll tell you what, if you consider him as an MVP candidate, I mean, never mind what the other MVP candidates are doing, because who knows how the voting would turn out anyway. But compare his season to the MVP year that Ryne Sandberg had back in 1984. I would think they'd be pretty similar by the time the season is over, at least from an offensive standpoint. Ventura certainly having an MVP caliber year.
There's a bullet in the center field. Everett comes in and makes the grab for out number 2. Everett with a good jump on that ball.
Of course, on that 84 Cub team, Sandberg was the centerpiece offensively, and here Alfonso's just a nice, neat fit. Not to minimize at all what he's done, but with people like Piazza and Ventura and Henderson having outstanding years, he becomes one of the mix. One of a very, very good mix.
But might be the most complete hitter on the team for a guy who can handle the bat, hitting behind runners, hit the ball over the fence, drive in key runs, become a table setter. Here's John Olerud, fouls the pitch off. So Olerud, 6'5" facing Scott Ellerton, 6'7". Olerud with a grand slam in yesterday's first game of the double dip. Hit a changeup for a home run. Fouls the ball back, so it's 0-2 on John Olerud. Watching Mets baseball on Fox Sports Net New York. Fran Healy, Howie Rose, Matt Laughlin. First game of a 3-game series. The Mets trailing the Braves by a half game coming into tonight's action. Braves winning their ball game in the 4th in Atlanta, 4-1 over Cincinnati. Foul ball. So a lot of excitement out here at Shea Stadium, the way the Mets have been playing. Very exciting game in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. Mets falling short in the second game.
You made that exciting too.
Yeah. There's a bullet in the right field. He's there and makes the grab for out number 3. So the Mets go quietly here in the 5th, 3 up, 3 down. And we'll be back right after this trip to the Fox Network Center.
Meet the Mets at the Wiz in Sayville tomorrow, August 24th. Benny Agbayani will be there. He'll greet fans and sign autographs from 10:30 to 12:30, and then Matt Franco from 11:30 to 1:30. That's all at the Wiz in Sayville tomorrow, August 24th.
Then come on out to the ball game here at Shea Stadium tomorrow night. Mike Hampton, who's 16-3, will take on Masato Yoshii, who's 8-8. Then Wednesday night, Shane Reynolds will oppose Kenny Rogers. Reynolds with 14 wins. Al Leiter. First pitch to Craig Biggio's up high, ball 1. Leiter coming into tonight's action with 10 wins. He's 10-8 on the year.
The thing you have to remember about this Astro team is the depth among their starters. I mean, their top 3 this year might be as good as any top 3 in baseball. That's including the Braves. I mean, John Smoltz has had the elbow problems all year. Of course, Maddox is Maddox again. But take a look at what Hampton, Lima, and Reynolds have done. That's probably as impressive a starting threesome as any in the league.
Lima with 16 wins, and he had to talk Larry Dierker into giving him a shot as a starter. Now, ball is short. Ordonez playing Biggio perfectly. Going to throw to first, 1 down. Ordonez playing Biggio in the hole, favoring the hole because Biggio has pulled the ball all 3 times up.
So Ordonez had to air it out a little bit, but he had time to plant and set. It's tough to tell from that angle, but Biggio wasn't even close to running inside the runner's track. He took the grass route to first base, but on the inside part of the diamond. Could have been called out under different circumstances.
And the batter with 1 out will be Lance Berkman. He grounded out and he struck out. He gets severely jammed. He bloops the ball in the left field, base hit. So Leiter makes a nasty pitch, and Lance Berkman picks up his first hit of the game.
Well, we're spoiled. We expect Ray Ordonez to come up with everything that he takes off after. And there was no chance for Ordonez to make this play, but judging by Ray's reaction, he seemed a little frustrated that he wasn't able to come up with it. A jam job by Leiter to get in on Berkman, and no chance for Ordonez, but the way he kind of flips the glove after coming up with the 1 hop. Seems almost disappointed he didn't make the play, but he had no opportunity to.
So Berkman on first base, and the battle continues between Leiter and Bagwell. He beat them both in, got another strike. In 2 at-bats, Bagwell is struck out both times. He's behind 0-1. Leiter throwing that slider. Bagwell, one of the most complete players in baseball. Here's the 0-1 pitch. inside, 1-1.
The Lighters worked him in all night. And again, we've talked about Bagwell diving out. Well, he's able to reach that pitch around the middle of the plate away with tremendous impact. As you see, he hits 361 on a ball to the outside part of the plate if it's down the middle. But
how about 506?
Yeah, a good hitter's going to drill the ball if it's right down the middle of the plate, right?
And Bagwell fouls off that inside pitch once again.
You know, I'd like to do that. Take a little bit of homework, but to compare what all the real good average hitters in the league do with a ball where he hits 506. I mean, if a ball's in the strike zone, right in the middle of the strike zone, you expect a good hitter to drill it. So 506 is a real fancy number, but what does it really mean? You expect a good hitter to do something with it.
1-2 pitch, breaking ball, and Bagwell, who chased it in his earlier at-bats, holds up, doesn't even offer it the pitch. You know, when you look at Bagwell's minor league stats, the best year for him home run-wise was 3. And then he was traded away to the Houston Astros. He was a member of the Red Sox farm system. When he got to the Astros, he was a third baseman. Just before the team broke from spring training, they gave him a first baseman's glove. Oh, he smokes that ball. That's one thing about good hitters. If you go after them consistently with the same pitch, they're going to start roping. Now Leiter knows if you rope that inside pitch, we mentioned it earlier, you're going to rope it foul. They're going to check Berkman at first base. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jeff Bagwell. Born in Boston, Massachusetts. His favorite team was the Red Sox, although he grew up in Connecticut along the shoreline. There goes Berkman. There's a bouncer to short. Ordonez goes to first. 2 down, but Berkman's in scoring position. Keep in mind, the Mets have only a 1-run lead.
Well, Larry Dierker guessed right. Main objective there was to stay out of the double play. And Bagwell, you see that 342 mark. Remember, he hit a ball up and in the strike zone off of Mets reliever Armando Benitez to win a game for the Astros against the Mets earlier this year. This time he pounds the ball into the ground, and with the runner going, there's no chance for the Mets to turn a double play. And that 253 indicates that he's going to have a lot more trouble with the pitch down than he will up or right in the middle of the strike zone.
Caminiti fouls off the first pitch, so it's 0-1 on the Astro third baseman. Jeff Bagwell 0 for 3 tonight. Well, you take a look at the offensive categories in the National League, and most of them have Bagwell's name. One thing that's not taken into consideration is his defense. He's very good. He's also a good base runner. 0-2 on Caminiti. Berkman leading off second base. Astros trailing the Mets by 1. Breaking ball gets by Piazza. So Berkman goes to third. There goes a wild pitch as Leiter bounces the ball to the plate.
So now that tying run 90 feet away as the pitch to Caminiti ends up finding the 5-hole on Mike Piazza right through the legs.
Yeah, it looked like that ball caught a piece of the plate, and when it does, it skips rather than when it hits the dirt, it has that truer bounce to it. So it's 1-2 on Caminiti. It scored a wild pitch. Berkman on third. Caminiti gets severely jammed. He pops it up. A Leiter should be out of the inning, and he is. The Astros strand the runner on third base here in the top of the 6th. They failed to score. We played 5.5 here at Shea. It's 2-1 New York.
Are you ready to hit the books?
Show up at Shea on Sunday, September 5th, as the Mets try to rock Colorado. All fans 14 and under will get a back-to-school Mets notebook, compliments of Fox Sports Net New York. For tickets to see the Mets battle the Colorado Rockies, call 718-507-TIXX.
Show up at Shea for a free Mets notebook, courtesy of Fox Sports Net New York.
Well, Natasha Caraballo from New York is today's lucky fan. That means if the Mets hit a home run this inning, Natasha wins a dinner for two at the Office Restaurant.
Nothing like eating at the office.
It's great food. So Natasha has a shot because Mike Piazza and Robin Ventura will bat in this inning. Ventura will be followed by Darrell Hamilton. Shea Stadium is jumping. Yesterday over 50,000. Tonight another good crowd. That's past the 2 million mark. And Piazza drives the ball right in center field. Everett chases it down. 1 out.
Boy, Everett got a good jump on that ball. We've talked so often in the past when Carl Everett was a Met about his speed, and you know about Piazza's propensity for driving the ball the other way. Even his home run yesterday hit over the 410 mark, but to right center. Everett got a real good jump and made that play look easy. Pretty graceful strides on Carl Everett, who has finally become the player that I guess 4 teams originally thought that he would become.
So Everett has found a home with the Astros, and he just found the ball that was off the bat of Mike Piazza with 1 man down. The batter will be Robin Ventura. Ventura takes down low, ball 1. Ventura in this ball game flied out to left field, and he singled sharply to right. Pitch up high, 2 balls and no strikes. The Mets record of 76 and 49 after 125 games is the team's best start since '86. There's a strike, 2-1. There's another strike, breaking ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Taking a look at that scoreboard, the Braves still on top of the Reds, 4-1. The Braves lead the major leagues in wins coming into tonight's action with 77. The Mets and the Cleveland Indians tied with the second best record. There's a pop-up down the left field line, out of play. So we'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Mets have 5 hits and 2 runs in this game. The Astros 4 hits and 1 run. It's been clean. It's been crisp.
Mets have hit the ball in the air all night against Scott Ellerton. Ventura can get 1 in the air. He'll have a milestone.
Hits the ball hard into right field. So Robin Ventura with his second hit of the ball game. And now we'll take a look at our Jeep game summary.
Stuff never fails, doesn't it? 10 outfield outs, a home run. Talk about that. Boom. Ground ball through the hole. So our Jeep game summary features a couple of home runs, one by Alfonso, one by Miski, and pretty good pitching on both sides by the Astros' Scott Ellerton. And the Mets' Al Leiter.
He had a big hit in this game for the Mets. Darrell Hamilton doubled down left field line in his last at bat. Had all kinds of spin on the ball, and it allowed Ventura to go to third base and eventually score the second run of the game for the Mets, and it stands 2-1 in favor of the Mets. 1-0 on Hamilton. That double was his only hit. Fastball misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Leiter's been tough, and so is Ellerton. Now Leiter intently looking at this baby. play. 2-1. We have the camera on him when he's not pitching. It's a different look when somebody's not on the mound. If they have a couple days off, resting up for another start. Tunnel vision, whether you're on the mound or in the dugout. And a 2-1 pitch. There's a hard hit ball, but foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tunnel vision for a manager, too. It was interesting to hear Bobby Valentine about 2-3 weeks ago asked whether or not he was enjoying this pennant race as much as the players seem to be and the fans certainly have been. And he said, no. He says, you got to understand something. This is our business. This is our office. This can't be fun while it's going on. And I don't know if he's different from other managers in feeling that way.
2 outs as Hamilton strikes out. I think all managers are the same. You know, you're living it day in and day out. You're not going to enjoy it until the season's over. And if you're successful, like Larry Dierker was manager of the year last year, if you're successful, you have a good year with your team, you can sit back and enjoy it until spring training or until the first meeting between yourself and the general manager looking forward to the next year. Roger Cedeno, the batter now, with 2 men out, runner on first base. Swung on and missed. 0-1 on Cedeno, who hit a bullet into right field, a line drive sacrifice fly to plate the second run of the game. Ventura scoring on that line drive. And it's 2-1 Mets. Ventura leads off first base with 2 outs here in the 6th. Being held on by Jeff Bagwell. Cedeno fouls it off to the left side. So Ellerton way out in front of Roger Cedeno. Cedeno will be followed by Ordonez. And the 0-2 pitch. Fouled off again to the left side.
Cedeno, by the way, with that sore hand that kept him out for a while, still has trouble batting from the right side. So that's why yesterday, with a left-hander pitching for the Cardinals, Bobby Valentine chose to hit Darrell Hamilton, a left-hand batter, the 9th inning, against the left-hander, rather than have Cedeno turn around and bat right. Roger just didn't feel comfortable batting right-handed.
0-2 on Cedeno. Hits the ball hard, but right at Bagwell, and that'll do it for the Mets. They strand Ventura. They fail to score. After 6 here at Shea, the Mets and Al Leiter have a 2-1 lead.
Good to have our cameraman, among many cameramen here at Shea Stadium, Keith DeSantis, back with us. Keith's a gamer. Broke about a half a dozen ribs. I don't know how many ribs you have in the first place, but Keith broke 6 of them playing ball. You got to stay on your feet, Keith. Either that or just wave at him. Keith DeSantis back operating our cameras tonight, one of them from our mid-third base location, as we go to the 7th inning in this 2-1 Met lead. Carl Everett, Matt Mieske, and Tony Eusebio to do the hitting for the Astros. And a fly ball deep to left field. Forget it. This game is tied up. Leiter's first pitch of the 7th inning lands on the left field bleachers. Everett's 20th home run of the year. 2-2 to score. So Carl Everett, the former Met, savoring that trip around the bases, getting the Astros even.
20 home runs for Carl Everett. We talked about him finding a home in Houston. He showed a quick bat right there. The ball was out over the plate a little bit where Everett was able to get the head of the bat on the ball, and no doubt about it, a bullet.
Only 3 of those 20 home runs have come as a right-handed batter. Matt Mieske accounted for the other Houston run with a home run on a high fastball leading off the 5th inning. So Leiter's had trouble with those leadoff batters tonight. Everett twice the first batter of an inning to get on, including the home run here and a single in the 2nd. Biggio doubled in the 1st. Mieske the home run in the 5th. He went around there. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Mieske hit a high fastball. Looked like it was a borderline strike. He had a shot of him really opening up in a hurry. And he got the head of the bat out there and smoked it. Now watch it as Leiter tries to blow this ball by Mieske and just opens up and takes that ball with him. 2 long home runs off the Astro bats in this game.
Still 0-2 on Matt Mieske. Mieske's hit for real good power this year. Remember we told you he came over from Seattle in June. Well, he'd had relatively few at-bats, only 41, but he had 4 home runs there. And when you combine his Houston and Seattle numbers, he's hit 9 homers in 112 at-bats, which is a very good pace. Tried to make him chase a pitch down and out of the strike zone. 1-2. So a 2-2 game now here in the 7th inning. Dennis Cook stretching before perhaps throwing in the Mets bullpen. Leiter will be due to hit second in the last of the 7th. 2-2 now to Mieske.
Mieske with 4 home runs since joining the Astros. Came over from the Seattle Mariners. As outfielders continue to get injured with the Astros. Mentioned Carl Everett has been hurt this year. Hidalgo's hurt, or Lou has been hurt.
Popped up foul outside first. Olerud has room, and there's 1 out.
Well, Bobby Valentine has always been high on Al Leiter. You see our Budweiser quote book. We'll take our chances with Al with the ball every day of the week. Bobby Valentine talking about the southpaw.
And think about Al's last time out, too. We talked earlier in the game about keeping the Mets in games. Well, he was all over the place early on in that game at San Diego last week. In fact, he wound up walking 8 over 7 innings. But the fact that he was able to go 7 and hold San Diego to 3 runs kept the Mets close. The Mets would wind up losing that game 3-2. But Al has allowed 3 or less earned runs now in 14 straight starts, not including this one. And here it's 2-2 in the 7th inning. In fact, that's the longest streak of its kind in the major leagues this year. You'll have to go all the way back to the 31st of May. The last time he's given up more. That was against the Cincinnati Reds. Foul straight back by Eusebio.
Eusebio's had an interesting history in the minor leagues. He's always hit for a good, solid average. Wasn't much of a long ball hitter. So you got to believe one of the things that probably kept him out of the major leagues wasn't accomplished as a catcher. Although the pitching staff with the Astros like to pitch to him, and they have, as we talked earlier in this ball game, some real good records. Lima with 16 wins. Hampton, who will pitch tomorrow night, with 16 wins. As you look at Brian Williams warming up in the pen.
In on the hands again. Leiter continuing to bust Eusebio in. The count 2-2.
The Astros are touting 3 of their starters as potential 20-game winners if they do it. The third one, by the way, Shane Reynolds. If they do win 20 games, all 3 of them, it'll be the first time since the Oakland A's of Kenny Holtzman, Vida Blue, and Jim Catfish Hunter won 20 games. And behind every 20-game winner out there was Riley Fingers, and behind potential 20-game winners with the Astros is Billy Wagner.
Wagner's leading the National League in saves with 32, but, you know, Larry Dierker, he wants innings from his starters.
And Larry will stay with his starters longer than most managers because he knows the feeling. He was an accomplished starter with the Astros for years.
Tell you what, Tony Eusebio is having a tremendous at-bat here. Continues to waste Leiter's bust pitches. The count's still 2-2. Leiter now has made 90 pitches, which is still a fairly economic total in the 7th inning. In fact, that's very good. This will be the 9th pitch of this duel with Eusebio. 1 out, 7th inning, 2-2 game. And the breaking ball. So Eusebio's worked it full. Leiter's pounded him inside. Just threw him a changeup there. Curveball, pardon me. And this will be a payoff pitch. Pulled into left field. So it's credit Eusebio with a quality at bat.
And a real solid base hit. He would foul off Al Leiter's out pitches. And then when Leiter made a mistake, we talked about it earlier, Howie, when we showed Bagwell's hot spot. You make a mistake, a major league hitter takes advantage of it. Eusebio with a good at bat, fouling off those pitches, and then a ball that had a pretty good piece of the plate was taken advantage of by Eusebio.
And that was Leiter's cut fastball that again he tried to pound in on Eusebio, but Tony got the bat head out. The ball had plenty of plate. Now the Astros have the go-ahead run on with 1 out. Bogart nothing out of 2 in this game. Dave Wallace enlisting some help in the bullpen. Inside to Bogart.
See, that was a pitch that early in the ball game the Astros were chasing. We saw Bagwell foul one back here. Good fastball in the inner part of the plate.
Won't be John. He's not ready yet. But as Matty Laughlin said earlier, he did throw in the bullpen today. Kirk Wendell hustling to the rubber. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Bogart. And Turk's loosening up.
Mets trying to set the tone early in this series because they got the Astros for 6 games, 3 here and 3 in Houston next week. And of course, the Astros are trying to set that tone also.
Infield a double play down. And the count 1-2 now on Bogart.
Bogart traded away from the Mets when Bobby Valentine took over for Luis Lopez. Lopez said that he liked Jerry Hunsaker's honesty. He said, we're getting a player who I think is better.
And the 1-2 pitch, tap foul.
Of course, on the other end, the Mets felt Luis Lopez would be better than Tim Bogart.
Bobby Valentine was saying recently that as much as he's able to maneuver his reserves into enough action to stay relatively fresh, he says Lopez has taken the biggest hit.
Well, it's tough to move those middle infielders out of there.
Fouled away again.
You got Alfonso and Ordonez, the backbone of your defense up the middle. It's tough to rest. Nobody does it better than that guy at shortstop. But boy, oh boy, Major Leagues has some good shortstops. There's a potential Gold Glove winner this year to move from 3rd to 2nd base. So Lopez relegated to the bench.
Towards the right field line and foul. Well, Tim Bogart hanging in against Al Leiter just as Tony Eusebio did in the prior at-bat. 1-2 here to Bogart. Remember, Eusebio was able to foul several pitches off, run a full count, and finally single to left. That's Eusebio at first. With 1 man out, identical totals now. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for each team. Let's play Bogart straight away and fairly shallow in the outfield. Looped in the air. In comes Hamilton, and he can't make the catch. Stopping at second, Eusebio. Cedeno backing up, plays it in. So even with the Mets outfield pretty shallow, Bogart is still able to dunk one in there.
Darrell Hamilton usually gets a good jump at the ball. Now, either he slipped or he just didn't get a good jump at that ball. Had pretty good hang time. And as you mentioned, Howie, Darrell Hamilton and the rest of the Mets outfield playing shallow, but you see the turf giving way. Hamilton, in desperate pursuit, dives to the ball and unable to come up with it. See Leiter reacting to that. Just out of the reach of Darrell Hamilton. On the replay, we didn't see the jump he got on that ball, but I thought he didn't get, at that time, didn't get a good jump on the ball because usually Hamilton makes that play.
All right, now, Al Leiter faced with a first and second one-out situation. And the pitcher, Scott Ellerton, will be allowed to hit. He's over talking to the third base coach, Mike Cubbage, now. Bobby Valentine's looking ahead. Not about anything having to do with Ellerton versus Leiter, but I'm sure he was looking there at what Craig Biggio has done against Turk Wendell. Wendell throwing in the bullpen. Biggio scheduled up next. Craig Biggio, a right-hand batter. Turk Wendell, a right-hand pitcher. And in case it does come down to Biggio against Wendell, Craig is 5 for 14 against Turk with a home run. Presumably, Ellerton will try to lay one down here, which could make Biggio irrelevant. Mets start the wheel, stop it. Ellerton pulls it back, takes a strike.
We've seen Ellerton in this ball game take some pretty good rips at the ball. Mike Cubbage, former Met third base coach, flashing signs. Robin Ventura in talking to Leiter, just in case.
There are all kinds of things going on here. The reason you start and stop the wheel, you're Bobby Valentine, is because you want to induce the pitcher to hit away. And if the pitcher does hit away and hit it on the ground, presumably your infielders are in position to start a double play. They started and stopped the wheel first pitch. They stay put this time as Olerud charges from first, and that's strike 2. So now the bunt far less likely with 2 strikes, although not to be ruled out at all.
From our camera behind home plate, you see Ellerton going out and bunting right through the pitch from a rooftop camera. Watch him punch at this ball. And he misses.
Come to think of it, Larry Durkin might be even more inclined to play it safely now with 2 strikes rather than risk the double play. Try to have Ellerton drop the bunt down. Otherwise, you may lose Biggio. They start, stop the wheel. He does drop the bunt. Leiter takes a long look at second before getting the out at first. So now we'll see what happens, because Biggio is up with first base open. Lance Berkman, relatively inexperienced switch hitter, is behind Biggio. So we'll see how the Mets play it here.
And Ellerton in this ball game has really helped himself. Bobby Valentine's going to walk Biggio and load him up for Berkman. But Ellerton helped himself right there with 2 strikes in a crucial spot, was able to sacrifice the runners along. He made a real good defensive play in this game. Now look at that. With 2 strikes, perfect bunt. Leiter taking a look at the runner, Eusebio going to third and then through to first. So Eusebio is on third base now. Bogart down at second base. They're walking Biggio to take on the left fielder, Lance Berkman. So it's up to Al Leiter to get Berkman out with 2 men out here in the 7th inning.
The intentional walk has now been completed. Only the second walk of the game of any sort issued by Leiter, who walked Caminiti with 2 out, nobody on in the 4th. So presumably Turk is ready. And we'll see if Bobby Valentine and Dave Wallace make Berkman the assignment of Al Leiter or Turk Wendell. Berkman tonight in 3 trips has grounded to short. He struck out, then he hit that little dunker just past the reach of Ordonez into short left field. So it looks like Al Leiter and Lance Berkman with Eusebio at third, Bogart at second, and Craig Biggio at first. Good speed at second and at first. Inside to Berkman. 1 ball, no strikes. Leiter now over the 100 pitch mark. Astros have fought Leiter very well this inning, particularly good at bats by Eusebio and Bogart. The 1-0 to Berkman, held away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Huge at bat for this young outfielder. Talking about how he's filling in this case for Moises Alou. Alou out for the year. Outstanding left fielder. Excellent hitter. Now Berkman taking on Al Leiter with the bases jammed and 2 outs.
Broke his bat. Ventura's up with it. Side retired. So Carl Everett led the inning off with a home run, but Al Leiter leaves the bases full of Astros in the 7th. Time down to stretch here at Shea in a 2-2 game. A lot of excited fans here at Shea Stadium enjoying a pennant race, and for so many years Pee Wee Reese was the object of so much affection from baseball fans here in New York, particularly in Brooklyn. And there will be a memorial service for Pee Wee tomorrow morning at 10:30 at St. Patrick's Church in Brooklyn. All fans are invited, so particularly those of you who go back to the days when the Dodgers were in Brooklyn and want to pay final respects to Pee Wee Reese, you can do it tomorrow at St. Patrick's Church, 4th Avenue and 95th Street in Brooklyn, 10:30 in the morning. Last of the 7th inning, 2-2 game. Ray Ordonez, no balls, 1 strike. So Scott Ellerton, who was allowed to hit, successfully sacrificed, starts the 7th. He's worked 7 innings twice so far this year. Ray 0 for 2 in the game. On the ground to Bogart, short. And there's 1 away. Benny Agbayani will hit for Al Leiter. New York Mets baseball is brought to you in part by Omnipoint, the exclusive wireless carrier of the New York Mets. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you.
Well, Al Leiter, who's pitched a fine ball game, is out of the ball game. Benny Agbayani will pinch hit for him, and it could turn out that this is going to be a fist fight between the Mets bullpen and the Astros bullpen, and they got some heavy punchers in both pens.
So Agbayani, the right-hand batter, to face Ellerton. And the fastball taken for a strike. On the ground in the hole. Bogart off balance. And Bagwell with a good pick.
A nice play by Bogart, throwing that ball while on the run. Agbayani with good speed, and it was bounced to Bagwell. We talked about Bagwell as a very good defensive player, and here he plays that ball on the hop. It bounced far enough out in front where it was not a difficult play for Bagwell, but Bogart throwing off balance and getting Agbayani by a step or 2.
The old Davey Concepcion AstroTurf play.
It's more predictable on that AstroTurf.
That's right. Concepcion with the Reds on the AstroTurf at Riverfront Stadium used to one-hop Tony Perez.
He started doing that after he hurt his arm. So Al Leiter out of the ball game, and it's all tied up at 2.
7 straight starts now. He's given the Mets 7 or more innings. Ricky Henderson, remember, he's got an 11-game hitting streak going. Takes ball 1. Turk Wendell having been throwing in the Mets bullpen. Presumably he'll come on to work the 8th inning. Bagwell will lead it off. Fastball outside. 2-0 to Ricky. He has shown no favorites tonight. He has flied out once to each of the 3 Houston outfielders. 2 long balls, and that was it. Off of Al Leiter through those 7 innings. 7 strikeouts. Ricky hits one in the air right at the center fielder, Carl Everett. So Ricky has hit 4 balls in the air, all of them caught. The Mets are done in the 7th. They go in order, and Al Leiter will be no decision tonight. 8th inning, 2-2. Turk Wendell will come on for the Mets to start the inning against Jeff Bagwell, but he's had some success against the big boys before.
Turk Wendell has had a lot of success last year and again yesterday against Big Mac. Last year he got him on all sliders, and Saturday he threw the heater right by him about a little bit above the belt. McGuire taking that home run swing, but coming up empty.
So now it's Bagwell leading off, first ball hitting, and he fouls it back.
So he got McGuire on Saturday, a hard-hitting first baseman, and his first batter in this game, another hard-hitting first baseman, Jeff Bagwell.
Bagwell 4 for 13 in his career against Wendell. 2-2, we're in the 8th. Fouled straight back, advantage Wendell, 0-2. Atlanta leading Cincinnati 5-2. They're in the last of the 7th at Turner Field. And Wendell among the busiest in the business. His 64th appearance of the year. That ties him with Steve Klein of the Expos for the league lead in appearances. Way inside. Bagwell had all they could do to get out of the way.
That's a good pitch. Turk's going to have to use that pitch a little bit more because the word is he'll throw you all sliders. So now he goes in hard inside, moves Bagwell off the plate. Good purpose pitch. Now he has an option. He can come back with that slider or go back inside with the heater. They're going away.
Fouled the breaking ball back.
And the good thing about that pitch there, it just makes a hitter think a little bit. I mean, if you throw slider, 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 the good hitters are going to guess with you and hammer that pitch. But Wendell straightened Bagwell up with the fastball and then went away with the slider. Wendell has not fooled Bagwell so far. He's got 4 hits and 13 at-bats. Career-wise.
And the 1-2 to Bagwell, ripped into left field. So on a 1-2 pitch, Jeff Bagwell leads off the 8th inning with a single.
And you better not forget Bagwell on first base because he can steal a base. In fact, the Astros feel he's their best base runner. Not their fastest, but their best. Makes very few mistakes on the bases. And Larry Dirk has given everybody the green light to run.
Ken Caminetti 0 for 2 with a walk in this game. So the Mets drop back at short at second, a double play depth. Ventura even with a bag at third. And Wendell misses inside to Caminetti. Caminetti 2 for 6 against Wendell, but both hits have been home runs. Bagwell at first, nobody out. Way inside, 2-0.
So here's a count where Wendell really has to concentrate on the hitter. Almost forgetting the base runner.
Outfield a step towards right against Caminetti. Big swing, 2-1.
Hold the string. That's a good pitch right there. Hitter like Caminetti sitting on a fastball. And Turk Wendell throwing the off-speed pitch, getting him way out in front. He said, I'm going to take this fastball swing. But a changer.
Bouncing ball, foul. Yes, Jose Cruz, the first base coach, and saw the count now 2-2. Behind Caminetti is Carl Everett and Matt Meeske, each of whom have homered with nobody on, accounting for the Houston runs. Jose Lima always animated, but for a change, sitting still. 2-2 to Caminetti. Fouled away. Remember last year during that marvelous series in Houston, just how animated Jose Lima was?
Never forget that series in Houston, the Mets and the Astros. In fact, yesterday, for a moment, you would think about it. Comeback victory the Mets used to win the first game of that doubleheader. Started coming back in the second game.
Right here, it's 2-2 with nobody out. Bagwell at first. And Caminetti hanging in. With Caminetti's injury, Moises Alou's injury, the Astros have hardly been able to field their regular lineup all year. Now Derek Bell out. 2-2 to Caminetti. Swing and a miss. So Wendell strikes it out with a slider, one away.
So So good pitching right here to get Caminetti with the off-speed pitch once again. Getting Caminetti, who was geared for the fastball, to chase the off-speed pitch, and he's way out in front. But the red-hot Carl Everett now is at the plate with 1 out.
Everett 2 hits.
And a good fastball hitter. We saw Wendell throwing that changeup to Caminetti.
Oh, 1-0. Remember, Everett, should he hit the ball on the ground, real good speed, has the advantage here of running from the left side. Always talked about him having good power. Oh, there's now Lemus getting
He's
into
ready.
it.
Yes, he's keyed up now.
That's half a Mickey Mouse hat.
He's serious with that hat.
Everett hits it in the air. Darrell Hamilton just needs to settle under. And that's the second out.
There he is. Now he's ready.
That's no Mouseketeer, though.
How would I see your manager standing with his top foot on the step? He looks like he's managing the ball club. Got the top foot on the step of the dugout. The only thing that's not making sense is the lid.
Yes, that's his rally cap.
If Larry Darker gets up there, I'll be impressed with a hat like that.
Larry's more of a traditionalist.
Can you wear a hat like that and have a serious expression on your face?
So now it's Mieske. 1 for 3, including that home run. And Wendell throws him a strike, 0-1.
Boom, that backup slider. Shows you how important ball movement is. Even though it's a backup slider, it's effective. And you can't consciously throw a backup slider. Usually, if the pitcher gets too far underneath when he's throwing.
Way inside. Wendell came about 3/4 on that.
Well, he's been so valuable to this ball club. Bobby Valentine's been able to use him as a long man, as a middle reliever, and as a short man out of the bullpen. And his ball game is coming down to the bullpens. The Mets against, well, maybe not the Astros. Larry Dierker's got a real stopper in Billy Wagner.
There's the slider, 1-2.
And that last pitch, right on the corner, or a little bit off. The hat's not doing a trick right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bagwell leading from first. Now he's running, swing and a miss. So the leadoff single by Bagwell means nothing as Wendell strikes out Caminetti. Everett hits a harmless fly ball. Mieske strikes out. The Astros are done in the 8th. Still 2-2.
And the Mets invite you to bring your youngster to a Mets game for free. Visit the McDonald's McFamily Activity Center and pick up a coupon to buy 2 tickets for the price of 1 to selected Mets games. And you and a guest could win a trip to Florida for Mets spring training next year. For every ticket order, the Mets will donate $1 to Ronald McDonald House Charities. Get your coupon at participating McDonald's restaurants while supplies last. No purchase necessary to enter. Entries must be received by September 30th, 1999. See store display for rules.
Last of the 8th inning, Turk Wendell drying off after some pretty good work against Matt Mieske.
And a good pitch to get Mieske to strike out. Wendell throwing that slider right on the corner, breaking off the plate. And the animated Turk Wendell leaves the mound to a standing ovation.
So that'll bring up Edgardo Alfonzo to start the last of the 8th inning in this 2-2 game. The Astros have now out-hit the Mets 8-6. Alfonzo's home run in the first inning got the Mets started. He takes a breaking ball from Scott Ellerton, 0-1.
Scott Ellerton has pitched an excellent ball game also. And Larry Dierker tends to go with his starters longer than most managers because he was a starter.
This is now Ellerton's longest outing of the year. He's working into the 8th inning for the first time.
And Larry Dierker has experienced all the emotions that a starting pitcher would experience. So therefore, he can relate to those emotions and tends to be more patient with his starters.
1-1 to Alfonso. In the air, right field. Easy play from Matt Miesky. And there's one out. We were talking earlier about where Alfonso's season this year would rate as a potential MVP candidate. Ryne Sandberg was a guy we mentioned. He won the award for the Cubs in 1984. And tell you what, Alfonso has a chance to surpass him virtually everywhere. He's already surpassed him in RBIs. I didn't realize Sandberg drove in so relatively few runs in that 84 season.
And he also batted second in the Cubs lineup. Of course, he had 200 hits. And he was another outstanding second baseman.
Alfonso may come close to 200 hits this year. Still needs 45.
But he's got so much competition for the MVP award on his team and throughout the National League.
1-0 on Ulrich. Walk, single, flied out. 2 balls, no strikes. Bobby Jones, by the way, in his latest rehab start at Charlotte, pitching for Norfolk, went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and a run. And the 2-0 to Olerud. Slice down the left field line. Berkman hustling over, but it's foul and out of play.
Well, one thing Ellerton has had tonight is great location. He's given up 6 hits and 2 runs.
And just now he's thrown his 100th pitch of the night.
Mixing in a fastball, a breaking ball, a changeup, and excellent location. You see that ball on the outside corner about bell tie, and Olerud hitting the ball where it's pitched, but into foul territory.
And the 2-1. Outside and low. So Olerud ahead of the count 3-1 with Mike Piazza on deck. 2-2 game, last of the 8th inning, and Jay Powell heating up for the Astros. A check swing, and Caminetti has time. So Olerud retired on a 3-1 pitch he didn't mean to swing at.
Caminetti had time, and he also has a gun for an arm. In fact, when Dunston and Caminetti were both in their prime, some of the baseball people felt Caminetti had a better arm than Dunston, and that's hard to believe. Here's that check swing by Olerud, and the ball's hit right down at Caminetti, and that bullet across the infield. Now Larry Dierker's going out to the big right-hander to talk to him about Mike Piazza. Nobody throwing in the bullpen.
What do you think this is about? Just how do you feel? And the kid's going to say, I'm fine.
Well, I'm sure Larry Dierker, as I mentioned earlier, wants to stay with this big right-hander. Probably talking about how he wants to pitch to Piazza. There's some action in the Astro bullpen. So Powell still throwing in the pen. Dierker had the option of going to the pen. But like all good starting pitchers, Larry Dierker, a former starter, stayed with his starting right-hander, Scott Eldridge.
So Ellerton will face Piazza.
And Ellerton has had excellent control all night. You better have it here.
Good breaking ball, 0-1. Piazza only 1 for 11 against Powell, so Dierker wanted to make sure that Ellerton still had something in the tank. Threw a good curveball to start Piazza off. Remember Mike with those 10 straight games with an RBI. Perhaps on the line here. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Mike.
Starts him off with a curveball and then just missed with the fastball.
Astros shade him the other way in the outfield. Got jammed, fouled it back. It's 1-2.
And again, good location by Scott Ellerton.
field, very deep against Piazza. Berkman almost at the warning track and left. Everett pulled around towards right center. And Mieske just a step or two ahead of the warning track against the right-hand hitter in right field. And the 1-2 to Piazza. A foul again. Still 1-2. They've got to like what they've seen from Mike Piazza, from Scott Ellerton, who's working the Piazza here.
He got Piazza to foul that fastball back. He made a real good pitch on a fastball inside. Boy, are you flirting with danger when you drive down Mike Piazza Parkway.
He can hit one in that HOV lane, and it just keeps going. A 1-2 to Mike. Fly ball left field. A lot of hang time, but the yard will hold it. And so does Berkman. So Piazza got under it, and the side retired. After what Durker's been through this year, that's a mere bag of shells. We'll go to the 9th inning, all even, 2-2.
Dr. Norden, it is hard to describe how happy I am with the results of LASIK. I had no idea the improvement in my vision would be so dramatic. In 24 hours, my vision was close to 20/10. Golf is my business and hobby, and the most visual of sports. To enjoy the visual pleasures on the golf course without contact lenses or glasses is a wonderful thing. Thanks, Dr. Norden, for improving the quality of my life. Bill Adams, PGA Master Professional.
Let Dr. Norden improve the quality of your life.
Edgardo Alfonso gave the Mets a quick 1-0 lead in the first inning. The Mets might have had another run, but not according to Charlie Relaford. And then the Astros did some long balling of their own. Matt Mieske and Carl Everett with home runs off of Al Leiter. Get this game tied at 2. So Leiter leaves with a no decision. This is our Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance game summary.
Well, home runs, 3 home runs in this ball game. Al Leiter throwing a good ball game along with Scott Ellerton. And it's just been a well-pitched ball game except for those home runs. Ellerton has shown very, very good location.
We assume he'll come out of the ball game here due to bat third in this inning. Astros have had Jay Powell throwing in the bullpen. But now Wendell behind Eusebio 2-0. Remember, Eusebio had a great at-bat against Al Leiter in the 7th inning, forcing him to 10 pitches because he kept fouling off balls that Al was trying to pound him with inside.
And he tends to hit the ball the other way. And we know how Kirk Wendell likes to stay away with his slider. So we'll see if Eusebio takes advantage of Wendell.
Inside with a fastball. It's 3-1. Eusebio finally singled sharply to left field in the 7th inning. It was Leiter's last inning of work. Now the 3-1 to Eusebio, and it's on the inside corner. Eusebio not so sure, but the count full. Behind Eusebio, Tim Bogar, and then the pitcher spot. And the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss.
That's a good pitch from Wendell. A gutsy call by Mike Piazza. They got Eusebio to chase a bad breaking ball. 3-2 pitch. Wendell goes to his money pitch and gets Eusebio to chase it. Oh, Mike Piazza made the last out last inning, just missing a pitch. Now he took his time getting out of the batter's box. If that ball's dropped in left field, he's pretty much on first base.
That ball had so much hang time to it.
You see the Astro dugout. Piazza knew he missed it. The reaction of the fans, they weren't sure. Neither was Durker. Durker talking, hitting right there about getting that head of the bat out there. Might be talking about the last out. Right now, a ball has been called, I believe, on Turk Wendell going to his mouth. Whoops, took it to his hand. And home plate umpire, Charlie Relaford.
Charlie simply saying you can't go to your mouth on the mound. Wendell did, so he's charged with a ball. Bobby looks like he's saying he blew in it rather than actually touched it.
We'll take a look at it as Wendell goes to his mouth and Relaford calls the ball. Can't do it when you're standing on that rubber.
Holgar goes around. 1 ball, 2 strikes, according to Sam Holbrook.
You know, it's funny watching Turk Wendell. He'll throw nasty sliders, and then he'll throw hangers that the hitters don't hit, backup sliders. He's got them all.
1-2 pitch. Fly ball, center field. Hamilton calls off Cedeno, and that's the 2nd out.
If you watch Turk Wendell pitch to major league hitters, you would pretty much come to the realization that most major league hitters are good fastball hitters, and they struggle with the breaking ball because Turk will hang balls that are popped up right there. Bogart popped it up. He got Eusebio on a nasty slider. We've seen him strike out Mark McGuire on sliders last year about 3 times, and maybe 2 of them were hangers. So Darrell Ward now will bat for the pitcher Scott Ellerton.
Ward's a left-handed batter, another one of the Astros minor league recalls due to injury. Jack Howell went on the disabled list on the 20th of July, so Ward came up. And presumably Dave Wallace just going over the Mets scouting reports on Ward, making sure that Wendell knows exactly how they want to work him here. Chris Benedict seemed to be doing. So a terrific job by Scott Ellerton. And Ward takes low.
Ellerton leads the ball game after throwing 106 pitches, but most important, 74 strikes.
Low, 2-0.
Ellerton also retired 15 of the last 16 hitters. And how do they set up their defense? Late in the ball game, they got Olerud guarding the line. Wendell, of course, not overpowering, would tend to be pulled by a hitter, and he goes away.
Turk mad at himself. 3 balls, no strikes. Let's get a first look at Darrell Ward, drafted by the Tigers, part of that big trade a couple of years ago between the Tigers and the Astros. The 3-0 pitch. Rip, foul.
That's why they're playing him to pull.
At the green light, 3-0. The Astro rally caps go beyond Jose Lima. It's a Houston kind of thing. What's that say about Lima's faith in Ward here? Rip past Olerud, so they had him guarding the line. He pulled the ball foul once and finds the hole the 2nd time. 9th hit for the Astros, comes with 2 outs in the 9th, and it'll bring up Craig Biggio.
Well, you see Olerud guarding the line and Ward hitting the ball in the hole. You want to keep Ward away from an extra base hit. Ball just getting through. Pinch runner for Ward now.
That's Glenn Barker. Remember, he was in the original lineup. He has a slight rib cage muscle pull, which prohibits him from batting right-handed.
But he can run.
Yeah, that started a left-hander Al Leiter.
Yeah, he's in there right now because of his wheels. Trying to get into scoring position for Craig Biggio. Keep in mind, Biggio, a big doubles hitter. So a gap hitter, he hits a double. Barker will score.
Let's want to keep him very close just in case he's of a mind to run. He has 14 stolen bases.
Biggio picking up his 50th double of the year in this ball game. Last year, he had over 50, and now again this year.
Nothing in 1 to Biggio. Of course, you always want to get that go-ahead run into scoring position. But if you think ahead, what happens if Barker were to steal second? Would they still even pitch to Biggio?
See that slider.
Remember, Bobby Valentine is well aware that Lance Berkman is on deck. And then Bagwell. Barker bluffs, doesn't go. The pitch taken for a ball. It's 1-1.
Looked like that backup slider again to Biggio. Wendell has thrown it to a number of hitters tonight. And you see the fake toward second base. Here's the pitch. No way that baby backs up.
Barker running. Pitch looped in the air, short right. Cedeno will have to play it on a hop. Barker gets to third easily. He's held there. And the ball over the head of Alfonso, backed up by Ventura. Cedeno with a looping throw that could have been trouble.
I think that ball surprised Cedeno. Had some hang time, and Biggio now on first base. So the situation, Biggio at first can run. Let's see this ball once again. Cedeno coming in and then slowing up. He felt he couldn't catch that ball. Plays it on the hop. And we'll see, you see Cedeno out there in right field, and the ball dropping in. Did he have enough time to make a play on that ball? Ball had some hang time and dropped in front of Cedeno. So Biggio on first. Good speed on first base. Good speed on third. Does Dirkner put Biggio in motion? Of course, he runs on his own. Now, Armando Benitez coming in his ball game for Turk Wendell, who threw the ball very well, but he leaves the ball game with runners on the corners and 2 men out.
So Wendell leads, Benitez enters with a go-ahead run at third. Wendell gone after giving up a couple of 2-out hits. The Astros with runners at the corners in this 2-2 game. And the left fielder Lance Berkman in to face Armando Benitez. Now the Mets hoping that Benitez can simply overpower the inexperienced Berkman here with that go-ahead run 90 feet away. Bagwell is on deck. Barker at third, Biggio at first. Foul straight back, 0-1.
Well, Berkman knows that he has to turn up the dial. Benitez's reputation is hard stuff. Of course, when he gets ahead, he will occasionally go to the split finger.
Which means Mike Piazza has to be alert for anything in the dirt. Something was just thrown out onto the field. That's why we have a half-second delay here. Berkman has 1 for 4. The 0-1. Swing and a miss.
Well, he knows he has to turn up the dial, but he has to turn it up even more as Lima looks out. That ball is timed at 95 miles per hour.
That's up 5 miles per hour from his first delivery. Up and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Benitez just has to rear back and fire. Power against power. If he throws that splitter, he's got to make sure he doesn't bounce it.
1-2 to Berkman. Nothing fancy, no question. Benitez was coming in to pump some gas. And he gets Berkman, leaving the go-ahead run at third. Now the Mets will take a crack at winning it in the last of the 9th inning. Listings. Well, they've seen a good one, and that's about what you've come to expect now from the Mets and the Astros, particularly with so much at stake late in the season. Talked about that series they played last year, and if this first game is any indication, well, the 6 games between the Mets and Astros over the next week and a half might come pretty close to measuring up. 2-2 as we go to the last of the 9th inning. Larry Dirker will go to Jane Powell to pick up Scott Ellerton, who will leave with a no decision after 8 outstanding innings. Powell, a right-hand pitcher, will be in to face left-hand hitters. Robin Ventura leads off, and then Darrell Hamilton and Roger Cedeno, a switch hitter. So Cedeno will bat left. Powell's 51st appearance. Everett has 2 out of 3. Astros playing straight away.
That's terrible.
Low ball 1.
That's a joke. Yeah, that is really a joke.
that they'll find whoever did that and keep him out of here for good. Not only tonight, but forever. One ball, no strikes on Ventura. Fouled away, 1-1. Jay Powell will bat second in the Houston batting order. That's because Vance Berkman, who made the last out, comes out of the game. Barker stays in center. Carl Everett moves to right. Bouncing ball foul, 1-2. And Matt Mieske slides over to left field. Atlanta won their game tonight, 6-2 over Cincinnati. Two to Ventura. Inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the 2-2 on the way. Ventura just gets a piece. Oh, threw him a breaking ball, and Ventura way out in front. Scott Ellerton is going to be a pretty good pitcher in the Houston Astros rotation for a long time.
Yeah, they have a real solid rotation. And Mike Hampton, their #1 guy, is pitching tomorrow night, so this game is even bigger for the Mets tonight.
Fouled away, still 2-2.
Solid defensively tonight. Roger Cedeno with a sacrifice fly in this game. And Larry Durkin, the manager of the Astros, looking on.
In there for a call, strike 3.
That's a nasty pitch from Powell.
Well, Ventura called that on strikes to start the 9th inning.
Powell rearing back and forth. Great location, right on the corner. You see a little tail. The ball looked like it was starting off inside, and you kind of give up on it. The ball tails a little bit and gets the inside corner. Eusebio framing the pitch.
Errol Hamilton fouls one off, 0-1.
Good pitch on Ventura.
A ball and a strike. Hamilton, a left-hand batter, but the Astros are shading him the other way in the outfield. When Barker, the center fielder, pulled around towards left center. And the 1-1 pitch. Line drive, fair ball, headed towards the right field corner. Hamilton on his way to second. Everett up with the ball. Hamilton a big turn. He'll hold on.
Whoa. Wise move by Hamilton. Everett's got that real good throwing arm. And Hamilton had to really put on the brakes as he went around second base.
So did Bobby Valentine. I think he was going to go out there and tackle him to keep him there.
I'm sure Cookie Rojas was having a heart attack watching Hamilton go around second base. Ball's hit hard down the right field line. And Everett with good speed got over there. Hamilton has good speed, but Everett getting to the ball and has that real good throwing arm. Look at Hamilton busting it out of the chute, and he picked up Cookie Rojas, and Cookie said, whoa! Where are you going? Look at Bobby Valentine, Robin Ventura. Bobby wanted to go out.
So now it's Cedeno, winning run at second with 1 out. 0-1 to Roger. Outfield tightens up now with Barker. moving in a few steps. He still shades Cedeno. Step or two the other way, but he's a little more shallow now than he was against Hamilton, knowing full well that a base hit could win the ball game here. And Hamilton was thrown out at the plate in the 4th inning. The ball hit off the leg of the pitcher. Hamilton trying to score from third. Questionable call by Charlie Relaford. Obviously a very important play in this game, which is a 2-2 tie in the 9th inning. So Hamilton in scoring position. The count 0-1. Cedeno, nothing for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Hits this one in the air, pretty deep. Barker on the run. And he yields to the left fielder, Miski. Crossing to third is Hamilton.
Good move. Miski caught that ball on his heels. Maybe Barker distracted him. He was not in a position to throw. Hamilton got back to second, tagged up, and hustled to third. So Powell has to keep the ball out of the dirt to Ordonez with a runner on third. Cedeno with the fly ball. Watch Miski go after this ball, and he catches it on his heels. Hamilton goes back and tags up. It's a tough way to throw when you receive the ball the way Miski did. And Hamilton hustled at third.
Winning run now at third with 2 out. Ray Ordonez takes ball 1.
And Larry Durker now coming out to the mound. You got Matt Franco on deck. Durker going out to calm Powell down. Just trying to get the confidence level of Powell up to get this last out for the Astros as the fans are on their feet here at Shea Stadium.
One ball, no strikes to Ordonez. Winning run 90 feet away, 2 outs in the 9th. Off the outside corner.
Well, we talked about the starting lineup. 7 of the 8 starters in the lineup batting above 300. And the batter at the plate, the only starter in the lineup tonight who's not batting 300, Ray Ordonez.
Hamilton trying to distract Powell from third base. Whoa, no, 3 balls, no strikes. Facial expressions are probably the same in April, but you know on the inside, the emotions are a little different.
They're going to walk Ordonez to get to Matt Franco. Well, probably because they were concerned about that 3-0 count. You give Ordonez a pitch to hit, and Bobby Valentine turns him loose, which I doubt.
Well, one thing you also do if you're Larry Durker, and how much this factors into it, I don't know. Whether or not Bobby Valentine would have come back in the 10th inning with Armando Benitez, we don't know for sure. But it definitely gets Benitez out of the ball game. And remember, you know, Powell, a right-handed pitcher. Larry Durker had no hesitation bringing him in to face left-hand batters here in the 9th inning. He has one other lefty aside from his closer, Billy Wagner, in the bullpen, and that's Trevor Miller.
And also, we gave that stat before the ball game. Houston batting .296 this year against left-handed pitching, best in the National League, so they get Benitez out of the ball game.
Matt Franco has been a 9th inning hero before. The Yankees know that. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, they're ready to give Ordonez second base. Bagwell playing deep first base.
Ordonez is not irrelevant here on the ball hit on the ground. Well, they may need a force at second. His ability to get down the line could prove to be the difference. He's running, and the pitch looped behind third. Caminiti after it. So is Bogart. Mets win. Matt Franco found no man's land.
year again tonight for the Mets. Matt Franco coming through. Ordonez was on the move. And Matt Franco looped the ball into left field, driving in Darrell Hamilton, who was on third base. So the Mets winning this ball game in the 9th inning.
Well, 3 of the 4 runs scored before that at-bat came on home runs. Sometimes you don't need a blast, just a loop will do it.
And keep in mind, Benitez would have been out of the ball game. Eusebio explaining what was going on, but Franco once again stepping to the plate in a pinch hit roll, driving in the winning run. Great shot of Piazza and Bobby Valentine running out on that field. So the Mets victorious in the first of what's going to be 6 games between the Mets and the Astros. The first 3 here at Shea, and the next 3 in Houston, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. Of course, 3 games sandwiched in between against the Diamondbacks in Phoenix. But here it is again. Matt Franco hitting that ball that was out over the plate off the end of the bat. The ball dropping in ahead of Matt Nietzsche and Tim Bogart diving for the ball. The winning hit by Matt Franco. And Franco gets clobbered. Starts off as a gentle celebration, then they start hammering him. Once again, a look at that looper in the left field. Hamilton scoring the winning run. So the Mets stay even with the Braves, who won their ball game tonight in Atlanta.
And the pitch loop behind third. Kevin Asper.
And the reaction in the Met dugout. Look at Piazza with Bobby Valentine going out to congratulate Matt Franco.
I remember Matt Franco yesterday had the misplay in left field. He hit into a double play. About the misplay, simply stood up and said, hey, I made a bad play. I blew it. I might have cost us the game. It's not so tough to play in New York after all, is it? When you own up, everybody's with you. And everybody loves Franco now.
Their belts against the Astros. Warner?
All right, Jim, thank you very much. With me, as I said, my special guest, center fielder Darrell Hamilton. Yeah, hitting. There you go, fan club already, Darrell. Darrell, let's go to the videotape. Last night's game. Bottom of the 9th, 1 out. You came up and you doubled into right field. And after you took the turn at second, which we'll see, it looked like you momentarily thought you might go for third for a triple, but then you said, wait a minute, let me back there.
Yeah, I was looking 3 all the way. I thought it's a lot easier to get to third base at 1 out scoring, that is.
Now this I thought was great baseball. You don't see a guy tag up from second to third on a fly ball to left field. Usually goes halfway, even though you know the ball is going to be caught.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying. It's a little easier to score from third base and than second base. So in that situation, I'm trying to get to third with less than 2 out, and hopefully a wild pitch, a bunt, or something can happen where I can score.
If Powell had gone into the windup, would you have stolen home on your own?
No, I don't think I'm going that good. No,
you're not going that good. Well, you had 41 bases with the Braves. You stole 40 with the Brewers. I mean,
that was a while back, but I'm trying to get my legs under me again.
Now, I saw that in your 9 years, 3 times. One time you had 298, 295, 293, and 291. Close to 300. In the off season, did you ever think, you know, if I just had 2 or 3 more hits, I would have hit 300 all 4 of those?
Sure, you think that. You're just a couple hits away from that. You don't think about it too much. Just go out there and play, and what happens, happens. I mean, I never thought about hitting 300. Just go out there and try to see what happens.
I think it's interesting. A lot of kids watching. You didn't even play baseball in high school.
No, we didn't have a team.
Didn't have a team. That's a good reason. But you were an all-state wide receiver in football and got a scholarship to Nicholls State.
Right. I thought about playing football, but after watching a college football game from the sidelines, I thought baseball was a little bit safer.
Oh, one last thing, Darrell. The Reds are playing the Braves, and they say, well, we don't watch the scoreboard. You ever think maybe they should turn the scoreboard off because it, you know, takes away
from... It would make sense. I mean, I don't think anybody in our dugout looking at the scoreboard right now. We're worried about what we have to do here at the ballpark, and whatever happens after that, so be it.
Okay, Darrell, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Darrell Hamilton.
Carlos Carlos Reyes in 1 inning and a third. Gave up 1 hit and no runs. With no walks and 2 strikeouts. Now there's something going on in the Astros dugout. There's some attention needed to that area by the bat rack. Security guard there waving someone down, and it's right in that area near the tunnel. Players were gathering around there. That's the area where Larry Dierker sits and Matt Galante and the coaches. So this game will be stopped. Apparently someone needs treatment there, JD. We cannot see that from where we are. And they're saying it is Larry Dierker. And it is a time of concern for the Astros players, as you see.
Larry's a strong man as it is, so then they had to get 3 or 4 guys to hold him down. And it was just the look on his face and the you know, the actions that he was doing was just, it was just a scary thought. And you know, like I said, luckily they were there, and my first thought was to start praying for him.
The news is good from the standpoint that there was no heart or cardiac problems associated with this. His blood sugar was normal, which is also an encouraging sign. Sometimes that's what causes these things. He'll undergo some tests. They'll do a CAT scan, and this could be one of those strange and unexplainable instances where the body reacts violently to something, and you know, it goes away.
It's not something that I enjoyed very much, nor did any of my teammates, to see somebody that we care about going through something like that. And you know, all we could do basically was just pray, you know, that he was going to be okay. But that was a tough moment.
Do you think back to that June date and what took place in the dugout at the Astrodome at all?
Never. It may sound strange, but I had very little pain out of this episode. I didn't see it coming. When it came, I was unconscious. Over the course of the next 4 days, I was medicated and I was sort of in a semi-consciousness. It went by in a blur. And when I got up the 4th day, the 2nd day after surgery, I couldn't tell any difference at all. I mean, I was reading the paper, drinking coffee, walking up and down the halls, talking to people. You know, I mean, it was almost as if it never happened, except that I had a bald head and a big scar across the top of it. And within a couple of weeks, I was playing golf. And a week after that, I was working out. And I feel about the same right now as I felt before it happened.
Are you tempted to look at any videotape?
I've looked at it. Yeah, there was no video that I saw of me actually, you know, having a convulsion, having a seizure. You know, all I saw was people crowded around, and you know, the scene with the team praying and all that, and it was very moving. But there was nothing that was disturbing to me.
When you have looked at it, what goes through your mind?
Well, when I went through it, when I looked through it the first time, what went through my mind was that I was very proud to have that many people care about me. And of course that continued, not just with the video, but after the operation with all the, you know, baskets of flowers and food and all the get well cards and emails sent to the Astros. It was overwhelming. And you know, that little scene there with our players, to me, it was like a little vignette of a bigger show of support from throughout the Houston community, and also a lot of fans from other cities in baseball. And it really made me feel good. People say, well, does this make you look at life differently? And I say no, because I think I appreciated what I had before, and I think I feel the same way now. But what it did is it made me feel a stronger kinship with the fans, because I think a lot of times we're looking at the field and we're focusing on the pitcher and the hitter and where our players are and what our record is and what we have to do to succeed, and we forget about the fans. And this has really brought me back closer to the people that are actually paying our.
In August of that year, the Mets had a crucial 10-game homestand. and they won games seemingly every which way. Bases loaded walks, bloop singles like this one, just out of the reach of the legendary Maury Wills. The Mets finished their homestand by beating the Dodgers by a 7-4 score. And during the crucial stretch, they won 9 of 10 games before heading to the coast on their way eventually to the World Championship. Four years ago today, San Diego's Willie Blair faced the Mets' Carl Everett. The bases were juiced, and Everett got it all, clearing the fence, clearing the bases for his first career Grand Slam home run. It gave the Mets a lead en route to a 10-5 win. It was his first, and one that Everett will always remember.
Well, I know Willie always come with a breaking ball. He's going to try to jam me with a fastball. So I think I hit a home run off him before. And he threw, I think it was a breaking ball, if I recall. And that was the same pitch I hit him out before. So, just my first Grand Slam, I really didn't take notice until I went home. And then the next one came, and then I remembered Willie Blair even more.
August 23rd, 1999. It's a Monday, and as we speak, my Mets half came out. Lost a half, split a doubleheader yesterday, kind of hurt them, but I'm here tonight. They're against Houston, and some play-by-play stuff too, and some highlights of this game tonight. So let's go to Shea, shall we? Let's get the fuck in there.
Jammed him. Ventura's up with it. Good job by Al Leiter. Gave up a leadoff double to Biggio. He was at third with 1 out, but a strikeout of Bagwell.
Said he would be a good starter. Now he's in the rotation.
Henderson fly ball. Left center. Berkman, the left fielder, called off by Everett, and it's Carl Everett to make the catch. So Henderson retired.
Much anymore.
Pulled through the hole. A base hit for Piazza. Olerud will hold on at second, although Berkman bobbles the ball in left field. So the Mets have 2 on with 1 out, and Ventura coming up.
Defensively.
Fly ball well hit left center. Berkman on the warning track to haul it in. Olerud was halfway, so now he'll go back. So Carl Everett led the inning off with a home run, but Al Leiter leaves the bases full of Astros in the 7th. Time to stretch here at Shea in a 2-2 game.